Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Nottaku Anime Awards. Please welcome your host, Alistair.
Hey! Okay, I can't really walk on stage.
I can't hear what anyone's saying!
What's going on?
Shut up, random
good
people
evening,
in the background!
The fuck up! Shoot him!
Oh, that was
God, fucking audience!
Right,
God damn it, get out of this! Why are you in my bedroom?
I have just come out of your screen.
I've just come out!
Hey.
Congratulations.
Welcome, Lewis.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nottaku Anime Awards for 2018. As you all know, we are now in 2019, which means we should look back at last year and discuss what were the best shows and the best things of last year in anime.
Should we get real lives?
Yeah, maybe.
No.
If I've known anything about my life, it's that if something isn't happening, just wait a bit longer.
It'd be this or jerking off, so I may as well do it
Just
the
wait a
third
minute.
time.
So as this will go, so we decided, because there's these other anime awards out there, like Crunchyroll and that, they don't do it properly. We're gonna do our own.
Do the Funimation
do
Awards
our
first.
own-
I need a canned boo effect. Hang on, keep talking.
Boo.
What, you're just gonna play it on everyone apart from you or not?
Okay, so the way we've done this is the five of us have all picked a show for each of the awards. We have 20 awards that we're going to go through. We've all nominated a show for these awards. We're going to go through each one of these nominees. Of course, we don't know at this point what everybody else has nominated. We can probably guess.
I have predictions.
Yeah. Have your bingo cards ready at home. Hugh, make a bingo card for the audience members.
If it makes you feel any better, Alistair, I've predicted 4 for. I've predicted 3 for Ben and Lewis, and Joe, I have no fucking idea.
I'm
Nice.
not much of a wild card, I'll be honest. I'm really not.
So,
Wow, God, bitch!
There we
The crowd
go.
want a wild card show.
oh my god.
Venom.
This is
Alistair, shall we
Enter the
introduce
final
Yeah, so let me introduce this year's judges for the Nottaku Anime Awards. First, we have Hugh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the award equivalent of that moment when everybody realizes that an anime has not been nominated for an Oscar. The general public genuinely doesn't give a shit.
Yes, yeah, what's anime?
Next, we have Ben.
Perfect.
Perfection. And then, of course, Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm the podcast award equivalent of the participation award. It's lazy and stapled on at the end.
I mean, you're not at the end, but
Boo sound effect. Boo sound effect.
Yeah, oh, fuck, I need to get back up. Which is a good segue into...
Oh, Lewis,
so our other judge / sound technician is Lewis.
Hello, I'm Lewis. I'm the podcast equivalent of the Crunchyroll Awards. I'm primarily populated by faggots on ice.
Hey.
Nice. And of course, I'm also one of the judges, your host, Alistair. I haven't thought of a thing, so I'm not going to do one.
Don't worry, mate. I thought of mine 15 minutes ago on the toilet.
The podcast, the podcast equivalent of Leo's Oscar. Awarded, but not for the correct film.
Hey.
Nice. So, if everybody's ready to get going, shall we just start with these awards? Because we have 20 to get through.
Ladies and
Nah,
gentlemen.
nah, don't worry
fuck.
about it. There's
Oh,
none.
fuck.
There's no awards. There's no awards. Ooh. Oh!
You
Ladies
get
and gentlemen.
nothing.
Oh, fuck, hang on, sorry, audience, are you ready?
No.
Apparently not.
Oh, there we go.
Oh my
Who
god.
wants a t-shirt? Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Take it off!
So, we will introduce our first category of awards, which are our show awards. We need jingles. We don't have any.
We'll do it in
fix
post.
that for
We'll do it
next
in
year.
post. We'll do it in post.
We'll do it in post.
We don't have a post.
I can beat you with one.
Oh,
So, the
Wrangle.
first show award. for
Wrangle.
this-
It's already a mess. Why have we been away for a month?
Wrangle.
When's part 2?
Okay. Stop.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Quickly, transition.
Okay, we're going to go quickly into our first show before these judges get even more out of hand. Our first show award is...
Knock my phone off the table.
For God's sake.
I'm so professional.
Best action! It's
anyway,
best
it's
fucking
best
action!
Show. Come on.
What was it? I didn't hear, Lewis.
Best action.
Best action show. Let's go.
Metal Alchemist!
Oh dear. Right. My nomination for Best Action Show is a show from winter 2018. It is Megalobox. Megalobox was an absolutely fantastic show.
Wait, wasn't Megalobox Spring? Hang on.
No, Megalobox was... It might have been Spring. Oh, whatever. Megalobox was a fantastic show that was a reboot of the Average Joe series, which had fantastic animation, fantastic sound design, fantastic characters, fantastic fight scenes, and one of the best conclusions I've seen in an anime for absolute years. It may not have become the brand new darling of anime that everyone built it up to be, but it was certainly the best action of last year for me.
Okay,
Wise
Ben.
words.
Right, so I'm a very big fan of boxing, and I absolutely adored Megalobox. And up until literally 10 minutes ago, when I was forced to make the voting questionnaires, where I had to decide between two shows that I would pick, I was like, you know what? I don't think Megalobox had as much whoa moment for me, which is what I want in my action shows. So I won't put it on, and I'm now gravely disappointed.
Well, mate, you've got me.
Yeah, you carrying my weight. My action show instead is Baki the Grappler.
A new edition.
Which came out towards the end of the year. The first season of it came out on Netflix, and is essentially JoJo meets martial arts in the most batshit crazy yet enjoyable sequence of bullshit fights I've ever seen. Written and made by a guy who absolutely adores martial arts and gets all of the stances correct, practices it all in real life, and it just has the most brilliant and eccentric fight scenes that I've ever seen, and so many moments that have made me literally like coil away and go whoa. And as much as I loved Megalobox, after about halfway through, the fight scenes were less whoa impact for me and more I'm enjoying this, whereas Baki has
Guy's
that
punching a guy.
way through, and that's why that is my action anime of the year.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Baki also has about 9 million characters. It's worth mentioning.
Introduced to like
Which
5 episodes.
Which is
We'll save this.
I'm
Okay,
only
so-
saying that to explain how many fighting styles there are, because there's like
Ah,
one
got
one per character.
Okay, so Joe, your nominee.
Okay, so my nominee for the action show goes to being really original here, Megalobox. Fuck you.
Oh my!
I know.
Okay, we already know what's going to win this category, don't we?
So Hugh's already mentioned a few points, but firstly for me, it was how they really well intertwined both the music with the fight scenes. For example, like one of my favorite scenes of the year is the fight against Glenn Burrows, where you just go into the raps scene alongside it, which was absolutely great for me because I enjoy boxing more recently now than ever, but not as much as Ben. But yeah, and it was just really, really nice to see as an anime. It just went whole hog with it. It got me to watch / read some of the original Boxing Joe as well. And well, I share a name, and yeah. What was that?
Yeah, that's the true reason, Joe. You were like the main character's Joe.
I'm not narcissistic in the slightest, guys.
We
you know
agree.
that.
We agree that you share the literally most stereotypical Western name ever.
Yeah, for me, and we're both Eastern. But no,
okay,
I
Lewis.
really enjoyed it as a show. It was great, absolutely great for the year.
Okay, Lewis.
Megalobox was fine, I'll admit, although it did not have any particular staying power for me. Action this year was actually kind of interesting, and in my eternal quest to be a bit of a contrary Mary and pick something maybe slightly unexpected, I've decided to go for Code Geass Solution of the Rebellion Resurrection Jibuno. As the Jibunwo, indeed. As the movie came out this year, I'm specifically picking that anime film because the action's still as good as ever. And Code Geass has got, like, I still think the finest mech fights ever, and that includes, I reckon, shit like fucking heaven piercing Giga Drill anime, and basically fucking Gurlagan's good, but like I prefer the Nightmare Frame fights. There's got so much weight to all of the fighting, and the film has got the classic thing which I feel that Megalobox misses, which is it tries to go for scale by starting off with easy fighters, then moving slightly harder. A lot of other shows do that. Like, Code Geass, of all the shows I've seen, does that perfectly. It doesn't do one-on-one fighting. It does large-scale battles, and you get scenarios which slowly build up, which is why I can remember each fight, because it's when you are there, in the current show, fucking having 4 people surround each other, going in for some mental sword fight, death formation. When that happens, it's made all the more sweeter by the fact that you remember when they were having a scrap in Shinjuku Ghetto. So I will actually throw my lot in with Code Geass in this instance. And you'll be happy to hear that's the only time I'll be pulling that card for the entire award show.
Thank God. That was a joking thank God, Lewis.
I guess it's my turn now.
Fucking God! No,
And Alice.
I guess it's my turn. So, yeah, mine's a bit different to yours.
Is it
So
High School
I've
DxD?
picked.
I was about to say, is it DxD?
No, it isn't. I mean,
Full
I
Metal
could have
Panic?
picked DxD, but I didn't. I picked Full Metal Panic: Invisible Victory.
So there we go.
And one of my
Interesting.
predictions comes true.
Because, well, with like action shows, I like good action, but I like my action shows to have more than just action. They need a bit of other stuff, which Full Metal Panic has loads of various different things. To be honest, I also gave this award to Full Metal Panic because it's a show that we it's a season that we should, by all rights, have never have gotten. It came completely out of nowhere, the fact that we got this season, and it was a really good season, and it's some of the best bits of Full Metal Panic, in my opinion. Which is what is still a very good mech show with some really good mech fights in it. Probably doesn't have animation up to the level of the shows that have previously been mentioned, but I like it because mainly because I like action shows that have weight, that you feel like you have weight behind the fights, not just the fact that people are just fighting for like reasons. In Full Metal Panic, there is actual weight behind this whole season because there's an actual like goal that he has to complete, and he has to physically do this thing, and you really feel that he has to like get out and win all these things to. I can't explain why because it's spoilers, but yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Alistair, just look to my reasoning with Code Geass, given that we've described 2 very similar shows. Never expected this extra season. Mech show with slice of life bullshit. We like the slice of life bullshit. Mech fighting. Code Geass is better mech fighting, of course, but mech fighting still,
It is.
Yeah.
It is a very strong pool of nominees for best action, all of which show off action in different forms, and I like that. I like that we haven't.
It's sorry, Hugh. I shouldn't.
No, it's absolutely fine, mate.
What
are you saying?
I
like the fact that all of the action is completely different. That you've got Megalobox with its one-on-one fighting, you've got Code Geass and Full Metal Panic with its mechs, that you've got Baki with its very precise, full-on stuff, and I like that. I like that we haven't just all gone, oh, My Hero Academia because he did the punch thing with the hand.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
I mean, that's the thing. None of us have picked
It's a
My
good
Hero.
spread.
That's an interesting one. I was kind of expecting My Hero from you, to be honest. Because my Hero does have like the big epic moment for most people in the anime community this year.
Wait.
Well, I know. That's why I'm not going further. I'm just saying that it does have that, which surprised me as to why it wasn't. And it also has the introduction to the muscle character, his name I forgot, who brought a lot of really good fight scenes in the early series. So it is quite surprising to not see it in.
Yeah.
But then again, we're a bit more of the
To jump off your point, Ben, actually, I think the reason why My Hero wouldn't get in is actually related to our picks, because obviously when you do animation, it's all 1v1s because it's cheaper to do, right?
Yeah.
As good as My Hero is, it's often because of its character action and character drama. I'd argue it doesn't have particularly good fight scenes. It has good. Sorry, it doesn't have particularly good action scenes. It has good fight scenes. If that
I
makes
agree.
sense.
Yeah.
Whereas
No, that's
Yeah,
a
there's a
solid
difference
point.
between
whereas
action and fight scenes.
Baki has got the best action scenes you'll ever watch. Its fight scenes aren't that good, but its action scenes are brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think the
Yeah.
thing is, for the category of action, there are better 1v1 fighter shows than My Hero Academia. Baki and Megalobox being two easy ones
Yeah.
to pick. Whereas if you
Yeah.
don't want to focus on a one-on-one fight, that's when you go to your Full Metal Panics and your Code Geass's, but that's what you lose when you move away from My Hero Academia.
Yeah, because
No, I completely agree.
that's just reminded me of a couple of Full Metal Panic points actually. Because Full Metal Panic doesn't just have the mech fighting; it has the soldier fighting in it as well. It also actually has a decent car chase in it. This season does. So it's not just about one-on-one fights. It's got loads of action of different forms.
No, well, I'm the same. Like, although Baki ends up pairing off mainly for the big climactic bits to be 1v1, that's the way it tends to end up in any action movie formula. You'll always get the big villain versus hero 1v1 sort of thing. But there are lots of moments that have, like, the, oh shit, here's something happening. Oh, here's a group fighting someone. Here's a group fighting another group. Here's this stuff going on. And it does have that variation rather than just the 1v1s, but it doesn't have that kind of full strategic focus of the warfare in action like Full Metal Panic and Code Geass do, which I can really see the appeal towards it. It's just never one that, honestly, it's a weird one because that's the sort of thing that never crosses my mind with regards to action. Because in my head, I always look at it more as a strategic warfare sort of thing. Like if I was looking at Code Geass in a form of game categories, I'd put it under a strategy game rather than a action game.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
If I may throw something in for Megalobox, I will say that Megalobox, I believe, is the sort of show that strides the line very, very happily between being a character fighting show and being just an action fighting show. I believe the fight scenes within Megalobox, you are distinctly more invested in them because of the way you feel about Joe and his fight and his struggle.
Yes,
as well as the animation and the music and the shot choreography actually being very, very much on point to actually show off this fight that actually you are hyping, not just because I want to see the guy fight the other guy, but you want to see Joe battle through, rise, strike, fight, and prove himself.
And that even comes into play with the villain as well, Yuri. Like,
he's got his own mission.
The same thing with him. And it when it all culminates, like in the finale bit, I think that there were a lot of complaints about that ending and the way they handled that fight in particular. And in my head, I'm just like, no, that's the perfect ending. Because at that point, it wasn't about the fight; it was about them.
Yes, absolutely. Which hence why I said during my argument that I felt it was one of the best conclusions for anime I've seen in years.
Yes, I agree that is an absolutely amazing conclusion, which is contrary to what a bunch of people thought, which really I didn't get at the time, but I kind of do now, because a lot of people were going along with the ride, I imagine, of this is a great action show, this is a great boxing show, this is like the best thing to come out boxing action-wise since Hajime no Ippo, and then all of a sudden to have a sort of cut short boxing finale ending point, I can get why people would be miffed from that and the reasons they were watching it, but at the same time they missed the point of the show.
No, absolutely.
I mean, also, oh, you go ahead, Liz.
No. You go ahead, man. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, it's just also like with that build up, with the build up towards the ending, with your final the penultimate episode where we see like Yuri having the surgery to remove the gear and everything, and he comes into the fight like looking like shit.
Yes, God the fuck.
Yeah, like I think a lot of people were like, if they were fans of the previous Box Joe, they were worried that it was going down the same route where they weren't going to get a final fight, because I'd spoiler warning, I suppose. If at the end of Boxing Joe, he just dies really quickly in the fight because he wrecks his body so that he can fight against his rival one more time, and it doesn't work for him.
Yeah,
You get almost a
died.
non-ending.
Everyone, a lot of people. Well, I say everyone. A lot of people were expecting a similar ending.
Yeah, well, me too. Honestly, I was worried about it.
I'm
Well,
glad they
a lot
went
of
something
people were
different.
expecting it, and they were worried about it. But what a lot of people, I don't think, really counted on was it wasn't. It's not a remake. It's a homage to that.
Yeah.
It's a love letter to that series
It takes the core
more
theme.
than it is that. In the same way that it's a love letter to shows like Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
No,
Mm.
absolutely.
I think. Oh, apologies.
Sorry. It will always be Megalobox to me. Will always be a mix of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, which you can argue would be the same sort of thing because it's the same director, just with a different style of
Setting.
fighting thing in it. And Hajime no Ippo is the big comparison thing. Like I get that the big thing is the like it is a homage to Joe originally, but I see much more Ippo and Cowboy Bebop styles in it than I do that, to be honest.
I feel it's much more its own thing, and I think everything
Yes.
on this show, everything in this nomination category, is its own thing and can stand on its own, regardless of
Yeah.
it being a sequel, a homage, a recap, or a standalone. I believe that they can all stand on their own and prove themselves to be worthy of this award.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only thing which I think it could have done to improve itself, as I was saying, this point was relevant 2 sentences ago. No, it's,
Oh, sorry.
No. It's not anyone's fault. It's honestly, like, I'm glad we mentioned Hajime no Ippo because the one thing I think the show could have done actually was learn from sports anime. Because the issue I have with it is the fact that you know how you're saying that you get to know Joe and you get to know Yuri? I completely agree, and I like both of them. You don't get to know anyone else anywhere near as much. I wish there was more time for that, and
Yes.
you know that comes down to budget and shit. And if I'm being honest, I think if this was given a 24-episode budget, it would have actually changed the dynamic of the show. I think it would have been framed more as a sports anime.
No, I agree. I think that's true.
No,
and-
I think you'd have got a lot more of the training stuff and the backstory of the
Yeah.
trainers and
And
everything.
I'm not gonna lie. I know we're saying that fucking the ending to the original Joe is a little bit of an anticlimax. I'm not gonna lie. I think the only reason we got this ending was because of the 12-episode constraint. I genuinely think if he was given 24 episodes, he would have killed Joe.
I'm not sure.
We shall speculate on that. We shall speculate on that later. We can only speculate on that later.
We can indeed only speculate. Alistair,
Right.
the next award.
Yes. Moving on to the next award is Best Slice of Life Show.
Oh,
There are many things that could be classified as slice of life, so this could be
Which is
interesting.
a life with a slice of it.
Indeed.
So, Hugh, what is your nominee for this category?
My nominee for Best Slice of Life Show is Hina Matsuri. I believe Hina Matsuri is more of a slice of life than a comedy, despite the fact it is also absolutely hilarious. But I believe Hina Matsuri has some moments in it that showed me that a show about a girl that comes to this world with psychic powers has way more to offer than just that. It can prove itself to be quiet, calming, reflective, and at the same time just incredibly heartwarming. And I feel it is one of my favorite shows of this year, and it is, again, one of those shows that I'm quite happy to nominate as my best slice of life.
Fair enough.
Hugh, you don't know how happy I am.
Thank you.
Why don't you fucking tell us, you little shit? What's your
Benny
fucking
boy.
anime?
I'm
What's your little fucking anime, special boy?
I'm incredibly happy, and I would have put this in this slot if it weren't for the fact that I do think Hina Matsuri is an amazing slice of life, as it is an amazing comedy. Except I think there is a better slice of life for this slot, in my opinion, which is Violet Evergarden.
Ooh.
Because
Okay.
Violet Evergarden is truly a slice of life in the fact that every episode you take a slice out of someone's life that Violet has a introspect with and meets and goes through and feels their emotions, and you genuinely feel a slice out of every character in every episode's life and feel a little bit of what they're feeling of these characters that are built up to feel real, have these real emotions, these real problems that you can relate to, and everyone feels unique and like a real living person going on. And in one episode, in a very episodic fashion, you do feel like you've just seen into someone's life for that episode. And it just, for me, Violet Evergarden is the very definition of slice of life. And it does it in such a fantastic way that you feel for every character. You get the moments where you're angry at certain ones because of the way that they're acting, but then you understand why they're acting that way. You get the bits where you see why someone's crying, why someone's upset, and you feel their emotions. You walk in their shoes, you see what's going on in their lives, and you laugh, you live, you cry with the characters. And that, to me, is slice of life.
Joe, it's you now.
Joe, it's you.
It is me. Fair enough. Right, my nominee for the Slice of Life award goes to Cells at Work. For
For a literal slice of life.
it's literally each episode is a slice of a body's life.
God.
Oh,
Right.
fuck off.
No,
Yeah, that was terrible. I know.
No. I'm going to tell you right now that pun might have just stolen it for you.
Oh no. No, it's as we said, it's episodic. Every single episode we brings in a new one of the new cells or focuses on Red, and we just get a really nice semi-education. I'll say that with a grain of salt.
I cannot give you the award for this, because I tried to explain biology to you when we watched it, and you didn't have any of it.
Well, it took a while for me to get into it. I had to rewatch it.
Mm.
I was watching it for the story first, then I focused on the science afterwards.
I watch hentai for the story.
Obviously.
Family.
But no, yeah, and I just really enjoyed everything going through its different stages. Your characters were mostly memorable by the fact they didn't. I mean, of course, they didn't have names for the most part, except for their actual cells. But everyone was distinct, and I really enjoyed pretty much all of their time on screen. It was also, and it gave you great comedy moments, faux serious moments where things would go wrong, but it was always just quite comforting because and it was one of those it always turned out okay in the end, and it was a nice comfort watch for me, which I quite like in a slice of life.
I'm just glad that Ozzy and Drix finally got the adaptation it deserved.
You're
That's
right.
what I thought of when I first saw it.
Man, that was such a good fucking show. I'm a Drix kind of guy.
Mr. Luby.
Right, so Lewis, your turn.
Alright, so you've been to the dungeon. You've had your fun. Not that kind of dungeon, though, I wish. You've been to the online dungeon with 4 of your friends. You've had your fun. You fought the enemies. You've taken area of effect magic damage, and you begin to take hits, right? So, what do? Well, your armor's fucked, isn't it? So you go back to town, and then at that point you hand in all of your quests with all of your buddies, and you spend 25 minutes improving your crafting skills. You hand in 20 gold to the fucking blacksmith to repair your shit, and then you grab all the side quests and dailies that you can. My slice of life is Goblin Slayer, because the episodes where they were in town and just chilling out reminded me so much of World of Warcraft, it made my eyes bleed. It was fucking brilliant, because although the show is fantastic action, despite not coming actually before, it was just the couple, the ones I mean, the couple episodes where you go back home, and then the fucking girl at the Adventurers Guild to be like, hey, can you help me out? And then it's like, oh shit, Adventure Girl's got me a daily. I've handed in my armor for fucking money. One of my other party members has gone off to go and do a fucking side quest. It's nice. It's literally just nice. And it is the definition of slice of life for me because, again, it's the whole it is the slice of life. But I'd also argue that. Sorry, I just fucking burped. I'd argue that the slice of life has got to be consistent for the world, and for something like Violet Evergarden, it's great because it's consistent with the world. But you get such a spread. And with Goblin Slayer, you get such a narrow view of this one character, and it's like, what is Goblin Slayer's off week like? Well, he goes back to the fucking farm, he checks shit, he thinks he might go into town, he buys ice cream. It's just nice. So I'm picking Gobbo Slayer for my slice of life show because it reminded me of being a tank in World of Warcraft again, although I only played it ever so slightly. And the rest of it was just handing in quests, chatting to people, going on to guild chat, and just generally fucking around.
Okay.
Alistair, go!
My turn. I wonder if everybody predicted this one.
Yeah.
My best slice of life show is Rascal Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
And here I was thinking it'd be High School DxD.
And that is prediction number 2 comes correct.
If you have watched the
Thank you.
listened to the podcast about spring season, that you kind of have heard my opinions on the show already. There, I was wondering whether this show would hold up. It did. I like this show a lot. It was one of my favorite shows of the year, and it just I haven't watched a romance in a while where I've really felt like I wanted these two characters to really be together. Like their dynamic between each other was just amazing. It was actually had a main character in it that was actually interesting and was slightly different rather than your dog standard blank slate. And there was a lot of stuff that it did the thing really well of like, okay, yes, we're going to go and now do other girls, but the first girl was still there and she was still like the main girl and you always knew that she was there. And the way it handled each of the individual girls' like problems and issues was really well done, I thought, and I enjoyed it a lot and I had a good time. I know what the comment is that is about to come up that a few people are going to say, because I have heard it, of why the show may not, be as highly rated as it should be, because it's Monogatari-esque. It's like it's taken a lot of ideas from Monogatari. My defense on that is I haven't seen Monogatari, so this is my first taste at it.
Shall I? Are you done, Asta?
So yeah, that's me done. I just kind of want to get that out the way first because I know that's going to come.
Shall I read you what I've literally just sent to Ben in the on the Facebook chat?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Bunny Girl Senpai was good. Wait, Monogatari, no! I'm not cheating! Monogatari, no!
And my response was, that's why I can truly never love Bunny
Yeah.
Girl Senpai.
I like Bunny Girl Senpai a lot. It deserves a nomination.
I
from
enjoy
me.
it a lot. It does deserve a nomination, also not from me, and because in my mind I will look at it and forever go, why didn't you have the balls to follow through with being Monogatari? Why did you not believe in yourself properly?
That is the only issue I have with it. Goblin Slayer, that's a great pick.
Goblin Slayer is an amazing pick. However, in my mind, I can't stop toying with the fact that I'm like, it's not slice of life; it's fantasy.
I would say the
it's a fantasy slice of life, Ben.
The episodes that Lewis is talking about are the best episodes of that show.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
it's not the show as a general. I absolutely can see that. It's just the episodes when it just chills right the fuck down.
No, I get entirely what you mean.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that I don't think that any slice of life really came out this year that deserves it.
I'm going to say you're not a huge slice of life fan, so I can understand why you picked where you did.
Nah, not really. I didn't really get the fuss about Bunny Girl Senpai either.
But there we go. I like that a lot. Cells at Work, I really liked a lot. Actually.
Yeah, I liked Cells at Work a lot. I don't know whether I would have put it as a slice of life.
I would have. I absolutely would have. It is a slice of somebody's life.
Like Lewis, I don't really watch many slice of life things, but this is what I felt was closest to it that I really did enjoy watching.
I mean, yeah, this is the issue with slice of life, because slice of life can literally encompass like most things.
See, the thing is that slice of life is one of those categories where you get one of three things, and it's a very heavy split with regards to it. You get the anime watchers that watch any type of category and don't really have a preference. You get those that really don't want to watch slice of life anime that much. That's not the sort of anime they're in it for. And those that are in it entirely for slice of life sort of anime.
I normally, for me with slice of life, it's always I like to have at least like one slice of life per season in the middle of like the rest of the madness for as my calm down bit.
And there's me that watches everything and feels sad about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're the type 1 in that scenario, Hugh.
I'm the type 1 in this scenario because I have nothing else to do.
Not my thing.
I mean, I absolutely love Cells at Work. I think Cells at Work is also a really good show. As far as slice of life goes, though, however, I feel like there were ones that were better as slice of lives. even
Slice of
like
life, slices of lives, slices of life.
Violet
Slices of
Evergarden is a very good pick.
Well,
Probably
as I say, I think by traditional definition of slice of life, it is multiple.
yeah,
It's a hard genre to pin that one to. That's not a bad thing at all. It just
yeah.
It's almost the genre where it's like, what is it? Well, it's not really anything. Okay, so it's slice of life then.
The thing that gets me with Violet Evergarden, well, I would argue Violet Evergarden is a straight up slice of life because you do, as I said, see into a slice of so many people's lives. You never see the full thing. You only see while Violet's there and the issue they face during that. And that is literally a slice out of their life and a small problem they're dealing with during it.
No, I agree.
See, it's interesting you say that though, because most slice of life that I can think of do not follow much of an episodic nature. They tend to keep their cast, if you know what I mean.
No.
Yeah, they follow.
Violet Evergarden is a slice of life in.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing at all. Just interesting.
Not necessarily. Well, as Violet as a whole, her thing goes, it's multiple. It's like you've got the action bits that are more of an action show and stuff like that. But then you've got the whole slice of like overarching bit of her dealing with her problems. But every episode is like a new, almost a slice of life OVA, where you just meet someone and deal with their problems and go through it. And Violet is almost taking out of the overarching thing and these singular slice of life moments. Violet is. She's a factor that doesn't even really matter. You can replace her with anything because the story's not about her at that point.
Yeah, no, she is essentially acting as the window into other people's lives.
She is the window into other people's lives, and that could have been taken by anyone. It just so happens overarchingly to be Violet, which makes a bigger, interesting plot overall. But I would argue Violet Evergarden has about 8 slice of lives within it, because those are the episodes where she goes and visits people and deals with the stuff, and then the other 3 on its own are a separate, like, slice of life show about Violet.
It's a slice of life show that is affecting a person as it goes on, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, also as far as Hinamatsuri is concerned as well, Hinamatsuri is also a very good show. However,
very funny. We'll talk about that.
I classify that more as a comedy show than a slice of life show. In my
now,
opinion,
it's aimed more as a comedy show, but when you look at it as a whole, it is literally about a hard-headed guy who is a big softy inside, genuinely adopting this foreign girl and learning as a Yakuza to let down his walls, to let someone else in, to not be a womanizer, to grow as a person. And he does this over multiple bits. And to anyone that ever says it's not a slice of life, I would say go watch just the Anzu clips and just watch those over a period and watch her go through being a stubborn person coming to get Hina. Then she goes and doesn't know what to do, so she's stealing food. Then she gets picked up by homeless people, finally has a family that she likes, develops skills over this family, and then this family sacrifice themselves almost to get rid of her, at which point she then gets finally a good life but can't forget the old life she had before. It is a slice of life entirely, her story, and one of the most emotional stories in the entire thing that takes up a lot of the time throughout most of the episodes. And you've got the same with a bunch of other characters that go through and the way that they develop her. And although it's an overarching fun and comedic experience, Hinamatsuri is a very emotional, heavy-hitting, and a series that you can take a lot away from, like you said, with regards to being more of a slice of life. It veils behind the comedy, but there is an incredibly serious and brilliant show there about slice of life, slice to life.
Slice to life.
Slice to life.
Slice to
life. Bite the dust.
I was going to say, is that a mistranslation of cutting to live action?
Yeah, mate. No, mate. It's my JoJo stand.
Oh god.
Slice to life.
I slice to your life.
It's just a kitchen knife with fucking kanji around it.
It's a kitchen knife that slices out a section of your life that you then forget and never
I
happened.
like the fact that I didn't. I like the fact that I didn't even need to defend my own show because Ben just did it for me. What he said.
Oh,
It's because you
sorry.
keep picking Ben's stuff.
Sorry, you know I have very strong feelings about Hinamatsuri.
I know, which is why I let you talk and just went yes.
I'm so sorry, Joe. Joe, fuck me, Hugh.
Why are you doing it?
Everyone's
No,
doing it.
no.
Everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. And on that note,
For-
next show.
For all the viewers' reference, over the past month-ish, everyone has been mistaking other people's names for Joe, and Joe's name for other people.
Mainly me.
I'm literally so dull I don't have my own identity anymore.
Your average Joe, mate.
Okay. So, shall we move on to the next award?
Yes.
So, the next award is Best Comedy Show.
Mario Genjutsu, Cash and Koji.
So, Hugh, your nominee, please.
My own nominee for best comedy show is Asobi Asabose. I didn't. Okay, I'm going to explain here. Basically,
What did those words mean?
Let's go play. Basically,
Jesus, that's rapey.
Not quite.
Dude.
Asobi Asabose.
Isn't that the
right,
same
let me-
title as Cat Planet Cuties?
Not really, but there we go. Right, basically, it is a show about three girls that join the pastime club, and I find a comedy show is a show that just makes me laugh. And Asobi Asabose made me laugh more than any other show this year. I just hooted out loud at so many of the different moments, and I feel many comedies in anime just simply don't make me laugh. They simply make me maybe chuckle or maybe kind of breathe out my nose. Asobi Asabose made me laugh out loud on multiple occasions, and it's my nominee.
Hugh, you gotta find out the truth. A good detective always finds out the truth.
Oh
This
god,
is
yes.
just water.
And of course, it tells you what shogi is.
That's good. That's good of it. To be fair, that's good of it.
Yeah, there we go. Benny boy.
I'm glad that a show exists that does that.
My favorite comedy is Hinamatsuri.
Yeah,
Because it's an absolutely, although it's an amazing slice of life show, it is also incredibly hilarious.
I laughed when they all cried in the opening.
Yeah, it's very funny. Has so many great moments in it, and just it had me the same way that Hugh described Asobi Asabose. I watched both, and both of them made me laugh more than a lot of shows in a long time. However, Hinamatsuri just hooked me and had me laughing so much more per episode. I found there were lull moments in Asobi Asabose, whereas I found the lull moments in Hinamatsuri weren't meant to be comedy. And so that's why I pick I've already talked about it too much as this. Hinamatsuri.
Yeah.
Very good.
Joe.
Okay, mine goes to Zombieland Saga for this one. For best comedy. We've already discussed in a previous episode how it's kind of a shitey idol show at the end of it because it's such a great comedy for the same reasons. They are genuinely quite terrible at what they're doing, and it's just finding zombies in all of these ridiculous scenarios in what should be a pretty standard generic idol show made me laugh for pretty most of the episodes throughout. I was beaming through it all. Again, we already discussed how the manager is one of my favorite characters just because he is a Persona character who is utterly retarded in this setting, and it plays perfectly. Yeah. That's pretty much me done. I loved it.
Lewis?
Alright. This is a show which I'm going to struggle to recommend because it gave me a fucking headache. I mean a physical, actually hurt my head after watching it. I've had to watch this thing in fucking doses. I can't do it all at once. Right. On Netflix, there is this horrible, horrible show called Backstreet Goku Dolls, and it had me shitting myself laughing. Right.
What?
I genuinely, when you said you had a headache, I typed it in the
This
survey before you
show
even
gave me a right. This is the premise, and is established in 5 minutes. I timed it in less than 5 minutes. All of this is done. Okay. Prince One Goku also says this: 3 Yakuza boys fuck up somehow.
Oh,
right?
this one.
You find out later in the show. Their boss wants to get in on different businesses, namely the idol business. So he sends them to Thailand for a sex change, and that's in the first 2 minutes. They come back from their sex change, they're now beautiful idols, and they now got to make a successful idol group while their fucking Yakuza boss is treating them like absolute trash. And then the worst thing comes to happen. They're successful, and everyone loves them as an idol group, so they'll never get to be back to being men. This show is terrible.
Oh, I remember
Thank
seeing
you for-
something about this
Thank
show.
you for
Oh god.
acknowledging that it is bad.
To say that this show doesn't have animation is like this thing makes Berserk 1997 look like Sakuga. They have literally just copy pasted the fucking manga frames, and it is just still and it's colored. Okay, now the reason why this takes my funniest fucking comedy, because this is a terrible anime, is the fucking voice acting. And I've talked about dubbed and how much I like it before. The dubbed voice actors just took this one, and they flew with it. Every voice actor every of the 3 main characters has got a female voice actor and a male voice actor, depending on, the mood or what they need for the fucking scene. Is it their inner voice, their outer voice? And it feels to me that they picked the right voice for the right time, because they constantly get you with surprise, suspense, tension, and primarily because everyone in this show is constantly fucking angry and is yelling everything. Everyone is constantly screaming at each other, saying things that don't make any new fucking sense, and don't make any fucking sense whatsoever. And basically, this show gave me a fucking headache, because not only was everyone screaming all the time, and it looks absolutely dire, but every time I was laughing from one of its quite good jokes, I would go into a lull, and then the bad fucking animation, direction, or fucking anything would suddenly happen, like a character would have eyes on opposite sides of their head. I'll send you a frame, whoever edits this later on, of one particularly egregious example during an air quotes emotional bit, and I just kept laughing at it. Whenever I wasn't laughing with the show, I was laughing at it. It's fucking awful, and I can't recommend it, but it is definitely the funniest anime I've seen this year.
Oh, dear. And Alistair.
That is
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's just perfect. I can't. It's terrible. I can't recommend it, but I laughed so hard because of how shit it was. It's the best comedy.
It is the best comedy. And the thing is, it's not even like all of it is bad. They've got good voice actors, is the thing. So you're laughing with it, but it's just whenever you're not laughing with it, you are laughing at it, and it just does not stop. I'm only halfway through the season, because I have to do this an episode at a fucking time. Watch it dubbed. DC Douglas is in it for some reason.
What?
Yes.
Yay, DC Douglas, my boy.
He voices one of the main characters.
Complete
Yeah.
Oh
global
my God.
saturation.
Perfect.
Uh,
And Alistair.
my turn. So basically, for comedy show, I basically picked the show that made me laugh the most this year. Ben will love me, Hinamatsuri.
Yeah, my boy.
Yeah, no, it was hilarious. And the thing that I'll just add to what things that have already been said, the thing that I like in comedies is not, I don't want a comedy to be comedy all the time. You want those like highs and lows, because the lows make the comedy bits funnier if they do it right, of course. And Hinamatsuri does it exceedingly well, balancing the comedy moments with the like emotional moments. And it's very rare to find, because sometimes people try to do that, and the comedy moments rip you straight out of the show, and you might as well just go home. But Hinamatsuri doesn't do that. It triumphs tremendously at balancing the two, and is insanely funny, especially facial expressions that I love.
Yeah, they're great.
The facial expressions are just the best. Yeah, so discussions.
The comedy is always better if you care about the people. Like I will always sit down and say that.
I agree with you, Hugh.
I will say, like, I wholeheartedly put my hands up here and say I feel Hinamatsuri's got this.
Yeah,
I like Hinamatsuri a lot. It's my best slice of life. I love Asabi Asabose. I love the characters. I thought they were great.
So do
Hinamatsuri's
I.
God.
No. You finish your point, Hugh. Sorry.
Well, Hina Matsuri had better characters. Hina Matsuri has
Yes.
characters I cared about. So when they were doing stupid stuff like him taking I'm pretty sure Hina's supposed to be like 12 or 13 years old, taking her and her best friend to as they refer to it, something like a gentleman's club,
Yes.
or a girly club.
It's
and
a
they're
girly
all-
club.
and they're all just like dancing around, going girly club.
We're going to a girly club through the
And
street.
and everyone's just looking really, really surprised. And then at the back, there's just her best friend who doesn't know why
What?
she's there,
Yeah.
going, "Oh God, kill me."
It's also when a mum phones in the club and she's just like, "Sorry, I'm at a cabaret club." What? Stop lying to me! Just
It's great. It is great, and I
Oh,
do
it's great.
think I've forgotten her name. Bless her, the one with the bow.
Hitomi.
I
Hitomi,
think she
yeah.
might be my favorite character from that show.
Hitomi.
Yeah, she is the thread of normality through that fucking program.
And
Yeah.
yeah, she gets into the weirdest situations. It's brilliant.
It's just
And
that her
that's
situations behind the bar. They're some of my favourite scenes of just her behind the bar, and she's just serving these people, and just everything that happens is great.
It's when she spots her fucking teacher, as you and I can sympathise. My heart would fucking stop if I saw one of my students in a bar behind it.
dear.
And the teacher's just like, nah, it can't be you.
Nah, it's not you. She's
Nah.
nah.
Nah,
Oh.
Goku dolls. I agree with Lewis. It's absolutely
it's
terrible.
Garbage.
But-
Absolutely. It's raw
But
garbage.
it is a hilarious
I
premise.
like,
thought it, and it was a contender for a future category from how much I enjoyed it, based off the fact it's a shit show. Just watch it dubbed and laugh.
Yeah, just right, because the thing is that even if you don't watch Hina Matsuri, you know it's a good show and you keep that in the back. Just watch Goku Dolls when you're drunk with your friends and you just fancy giving yourselves a headache, because it is such a laugh at it show, not laugh with it. I just genuinely give it a watch. Genuinely give it a watch dubbed. Also, I'll say that I'll again plug dubbed here because comedy works better in dubs, I think.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
Hina Matsuris only works because of their quality of voice actors.
Yeah.
I mean, my love of Zombieland documented on this show. It was really, really funny. I did like it, so I think that's a solid pick.
I think all of the picks have been
all the
I'd
picks
say
have
pretty
been really
solid.
good for this one, and really unexpected on my as far as I think, for everyone, apart from me, whose was a very obvious pick. But
What do you mean by unexpected, Ben?
Yeah, that
What
was
were
an
you
obvious
thinking
one.
we were going to pick?
well, that's too long a discussion to get into. But
we'll discuss this later.
yeah, as I was going to say earlier with the Aspie say, I genuinely loved that show, and it had me bursting out laughing so many times. But there were so many moments where I was like, I'm not really feeling this scene or finding this bit funny. I'd have because it's like 3 clips an episode, I'd have like a third of an episode where I sat there like, I'm enjoying this, but I'm not laughing. Whereas in Hina Matsuri, I'd be enjoying it and not laughing because it was a serious emotional moment.
Comedy is hit and miss, and I will admit that Asabi has its misses, and I like it a lot. It got my nomination, but it does have its misses.
I would describe it very much as a meme of a show.
That's the thing with comedy. Comedy is subjective. Everybody's thing of comedy is different. So some people will like some comedy shows more than others.
Yeah. It has so many. It's crazy because it has so many anime references, game references, and also oddly American movie references.
Yes, that was a strange one.
Is that something that's specific to double sub? Because a lot of ones will do that,
No,
or is that just
No,
in the
both of
show?
them.
The sub has it, and the dub translates exactly the same.
It's strange. It is strange. Comedy is subjective, but I'm glad to see that we've all got comedies that we've enjoyed this year.
Yeah, they're all respectable, to be sure.
To be fair, this year's been very good for comedy.
It has been very good for comedy.
Right. So speaking of comedy,
Oh,
To
God.
mix things up a little during these awards, we decided to fit in some joke awards. So each one of us made up a jokey award to put in throughout this this award ceremony, and we'll do our first one now.
Ben, I believe it's yours.
Would you
Oh,
like
no,
to
I was
introduce
gonna
your
God
award, Ben,
damn
or
it,
do you want
Lewis,
me to do it?
I was going to give bonus points to if people could guess whose award it was.
Oh, right.
Oh, sorry. Oh, well, for the rest of them, then we can do that.
No, we can't. No, bitch,
We all
can't
know.
if I've lost mine.
The rest of us get to have fun.
No. To be fair, I do like the idea of us each introducing our awards. So.
Okay, go on, Ben. You can
So-
introduce your award.
All right, so my award is the Homemade Fleshlight Award for show that you enjoyed much more than you had any right or should have.
Joe, can you please swat that motherfucking fly or get out of my chat?
What?
You're
Your mic is
buzzing, mate.
buzzing.
Oh, I have no idea what that is.
We're now suddenly into
It's
an aura
not, to
going
be fair.
mind controlled.
Do 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 do. Anyway,
Okay, anyway.
Technical
Hugh.
difficulties. Wah!
Yeah.
I'm not putting that in there.
my nomination for Ben's award that goddamn am I not saying out loud?
Well, you can just say if you don't want to say it out loud, just say show you enjoyed much more than you should have.
the Homemade Fleshlight Award.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we
we go.
go. It goes to Eurocamp. Eurocamp is a show
What
about
the fuck is that?
Eurocamp came out in the winter of this year, and it is a show about five girls.
Winter of last year, dickhead!
And it's a show about five girls that go out camping, and I'm just going to push through that one.
Just keep going because this is an okay
they like,
pick.
yeah, basically they like camping. They like camping and they go camping, and it's the show that I looked at and went, it's just going to be one of those kind of cute girls doing cute things, slices of life that'll like be like a glass of water in the I'll deal with it, but I would rather do something else. And by the end of it, it actually ended up being an exceptionally wholesome, well put together, well-rounded character show about finding a new passion and finding new friends as a result of that passion. And considering the group that I'm currently with in this podcast is a group of people that actually I've gotten to know over the course of the last year through things that I've discovered more over the last year. I liked it a lot. I sympathized with it, and it made me really enjoy it. And it wasn't a show I expected to enjoy. And
Everything
as a result,
looks so comfortable in it.
and as a result, it's the show. Yeah, as a result, it's the show that I'm nominating.
I'm glad you said that, Hugh.
As heartfelt as that was, please don't make us go camping.
I don't want to
Oh,
go.
no. Oh, no, I haven't done camping in years. God, no, please.
As one thing that we've that needs to be noted is that for each of our awards that we came up with the funny name and the actual award thing for them. However, everyone seems to have come up with their own interpretation of most of them, and so as
It's
you
fun.
will see, there is a very different tone to a lot of the ways people have handled some of these homemade ones.
But there we go.
Yeah.
Benny boy, your nomination for your own award.
So my nomination for my award, I took as almost a guilty pleasure, something that I should,
You know, on
Something
your
that
own, don't worry, mate.
something I shouldn't have enjoyed, but I did enjoy, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. Not in that way. Oh, wipes brow.
Oh, yeah, your brow.
Bible
Sure, that's what you're
black.
fucking wiping.
But no. I had multiple shows picked for this, and I decided I should probably go for the show that I'd actually finished. And so that show is Citrus,
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Okay, interesting.
which is as people know, it's a show about a lesbian relationship, and it's very forefront about that, and there's a lot of more adultish content in it. However,
How coy of you, Mr. Moss!
wiggling my mustache.
It's only slightly rapey.
But I genuinely found myself interested,
Jacking it.
liking the characters, intrigued in the way that they interacted, in the
Sex, yes.
relationships between them, wanting to see things work out properly for people, and the obstacles that came in between, feeling the emotional weight of that, and all in a while going through and thinking, man, why is my hentai so interesting? And I came to it at the end and was just genuinely like, I really enjoyed that show and would rate it quite highly this year, despite everything in it and all that, all the other sexual stuff. I enjoyed it despite that, and it feels very much like a guilty pleasure sort of thing to me. In one of the things that I wouldn't really like to admit to, I really enjoyed this show, but I did really enjoy this show.
Nice.
Okay,
Nice.
Joe.
Fair enough. My award for a show that was far more enjoyable than it probably had any right to be for me goes to Agretsuko.
What?
Yeah. Okay.
It's the
so
cat one, isn't it?
Red
Yeah.
Panda, and yes,
It's the workplace existential dread one. I can't imagine why Joe's picked it.
Oh, that's a great show.
yeah. But nothing about when I was just literally this was just I was really bored one night just going through my Netflix shows, decided like thinking of something to watch. That kind of just popped up on the recommend. I was just like, fuck it.
Oh,
I'll watch this.
right.
It's
Sorry.
the
I'm
Netflix
like-
one.
I
Yeah.
was wondering which one you're talking about, then I realised you butchered the pronunciation. Sorry.
All right, Mister. I actually speak Japanese. Go on
There you
then.
go. It's a Gretzko, but fair enough.
Thank you. But yeah, no,
Wasn't that what he said?
that's basically what I said. God. Yeah, it's just like, and nothing about it like particularly actually grabbed out to me. Like its animation is very nah. It's like all animal people, which has never really been like a show that's a premise that's ever really mattered to me. And then the heavy metal dropped, and I was immediately just like, okay, then this is what they're doing.
Someone
It's-
didn't watch the trailer.
No, I never watched trailers for anything like show wise.
It's a good way to go.
But yeah, it's just it completely caught me off guard. I was just like, yeah, okay, this is something I'll give this a go. Kept on with it, and it very much reminded me of a really old TV show, Metalocalypse, which was just, well, as the name implies, metal. It's just heavy metal with stupid stuff happening. It was just great, the contrast between just a character's regular life stuff in the office where things are shit. It's Japanese office life, you know, same shit, different day, no matter what you do, and then the character's escapism, like just to get out of that, and it was just really, really good. As I was like, I did it with no expectations and loved it for it. So yeah, that's my Fleshlight award.
I'm
Losing
definitely it's my turn now, isn't it? Definitely with
Yep.
Ben. Definitely with Ben on this one, which is guilty pleasure, but mine's a guilty pleasure for like less of a lesbian reason, you know? Like
Is it Code Geass again?
No, it's not Code Geass. That's not a guilty pleasure of mine. That's a very unguilty pleasure. That's an innocent pleasure. No, went to Sword Art Online for me, actually.
Okay.
Alicization. Yeah, I don't know, like, Sword Art Online, like, you know, the light novels are fine, the first season, everyone agrees the first, like, you know, 8 episodes, whatever it was, were good. Everyone agrees on that. That's fine. Everyone also seems to generally agree that it's trash beyond there, but somehow has managed to retain its quality. So when I first watched Alicization, I found myself surprised to see myself getting sucked back into it. If I'm being honest, like I was watching Sword Art Online for the first fucking time, and it just felt like the creator re-got his stride, but like nothing's changed, if you know what I mean. It's still the same Sword Art Online, so I think it's just kind of recaptured that nostalgia that I kind of got off of it. Definitely is a guilty pleasure, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it a fair bit. It put its feet right, and it's a guilty pleasure because it's fucking nostalgia gen fucking why meme anime, and I enjoyed it.
Like he found the mix between the out of world and in world, and then
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. And for once, his in world is actually more interesting because Aincrad was like interesting, but like this one's really cool, and like they're manipulating the in-game stuff. I wish they didn't just skip in time so much, but that's really my only
Yeah.
complaint. That's only because they're compressing for the fucking anime, really. And it's just nice. It's well developed, and like it feels comfortable. Like It really feels like you're watching a creator go, right, sit back, relax, watch me work. And it's like, okay, and just like, I'm engaged is the thing. And I don't want to admit I was engaged as I was, but I really was.
Lewis, it's okay to be nearly married.
Ah, God, I'm afraid. No, fuck it.
Good funny jokes.
But no, it was perfectly fine. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Content you came for.
And
Well,
Alistair.
So,
Gotta pay the rent, though.
I feel like I've gone quite similar to Lewis and Ben on this pick. However, I can't really do a guilty pleasure as well in the traditional sense because everybody
feel no
knows I
guilt.
watch
You're a degenerate.
Trash.
etchy shit.
I was
So-
like, you're trash. You're a fucking degenerate.
So-
You laying down the law.
I enjoyed a show quite a lot this season that has been trashed a lot by a lot of people. I enjoyed Black Clover way more than I should have. I'm sorry, I really enjoy trashy shonen that I can just stick on and just like, have on and just, not have to think and just let my brain just like shut off and watch some trash that is just fun and just like nothing, like, I don't have to think. I just can watch this shit and enjoy myself.
It's okay, Alistair. I started watching Dragon Ball Super.
And the thing is also, I watch this dubbed because, of course, I want to shut my brain off. So I don't want to be reading subtitles. So I have it dubbed so I can, maybe do something else while I'm slightly listening to this thing. But I really enjoyed it.
Who wants to think during their anime watches? We don't want to give in to the thinkers.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that
Musing
way
upon
too
shit.
Oh dear. I joke,
much.
but I understand as well.
Some interesting picks there.
I've-
Ben, I watched Citrus and I enjoyed Citrus as well.
I felt.
But you did it unironically.
Yeah, you did it without feeling guilty.
Yeah, I did it without feeling
You
guilty.
did it with the tissues next door.
Oh, next door.
Aw.
Every so often he had to get up, walk into the next room, say sorry, mum, and then walk back away.
Oh.
Man, this is really starting to be really interesting because there's a lot of shit that I'm not expecting in these lists.
No, absolutely. I feel like we explained ourselves and people jumped in with ourselves on this awards. I actually don't feel like we need to particularly
No, I
discuss.
don't
them
think we
too
need to
much.
discuss
Yeah.
that.
I
I
think
think
we're
that's all
pretty
very
good.
personal, kind
I
of.
think that's
No,
pretty-
I think this one very much was a more of a unique to every person, and so there's no way to really pull any of it apart.
So on
No.
that note, Alistair, I feel you should move us on.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the next category of awards, and that is the Character Awards. We'll start with the main one. Woo! We'll start with the
Yay.
main character award, of course, and that is Best Protagonist.
Indeed. Right.
Bagonist.
Here comes the protagonist of a
Let's
show
go.
that you.
Audible sigh.
All right. Here comes the protagonist of a show that you guys all forgot existed this year. My nomination for protagonist of the year is Kiriyama Ray from March Comes In Like a Lion. So, March Comes In Like a Lion ended. The second season ended at the beginning of 2018, and it is one of my favorite anime of all time. And Kiriyama Ray is one of the most interesting protagonists of any show I've ever seen. And the moment we were discussing this, and Alistair said that if the show finished in 2018 but began in 2017, it was up for nominations. He turned up and just smacked everybody else out of the way and went, "Move over, bitches! I don't know how to smile." And here he is.
I'll say this now. Ben, do you like this character?
Yes, I
How does this asshole get away with this shit when you shit on Shinji? He's a little pussy! He can't deal with his own little fucking problems! Oh, I'm a world-class shogi player! I can't fucking do it! Why does Shinji get the bad rap?
Because
because the world dying depends on Shinji, whereas it does not in any way.
Whereas, oh, it's just the fact I need my water bottles, oh, that's dependent on me, on an interesting... He actually is, I'm just fucking memeing.
Ben, your nomination before Lewis blows a blood vessel.
Yeah, no, go on, Ben.
I'm
Right,
so
so-
talented at shogi and 3 attractive women want me, how can I live?
Mate, don't fuck off. Not all three do.
Only one.
Oh!
My favorite protagonist. Ooh,
And ironically, we're still better than the second Crunchyroll Awards in the live show.
I'll give it to
But-
you.
My favorite protagonist is Ash Lynx from Banana Fish.
Ah, you bastard.
And there's my third prediction.
Because Ash is a incredibly well built and in depth character that is dealing with a lot of shit from the past, and feels like a very real person and personality going through in the world. And the way that he interacts with people is the same as anything. He doesn't just fall for the love interest and everything falls into his arms. He has the social awkwardness. He has, in fact, due to the fact that he is gay, he has the bit where he just assumes.
He's gay?
He just,
My God, really? I don't know.
He just assumes that the guy he likes is straight, and so asks him about his boyfriend and stuff, and never really tries to get with them romantically in that way. But is a character that's dealing with so much backstory and trauma from the ridiculous amount of terrible things that has happened to him in the past, and yet overcomes this, and you see him deal with it in a character in such a way that no other character. Oh, excuse me, sorry. That no other character has really hit with in a story this year for me. And the way that they're portrayed, the voice acting, the way that they carry themselves, the way they interact with other characters and everything just builds this amazing character and this brilliant protagonist that you're intrigued in their plight and you feel their fury, but you also feel the futility behind their actions, but understand why, despite the fact they know it's pointless, they still fight for what they're believing in and for the reasons that they're going behind. And every punch pulled from them you feel, and every betrayal, every moment through it, everything feels real, and this character just resonates throughout as such a real person and such a just such a great character for seeing the emotion they pull, the things they go through, and the fire burning within them for everything that's gone on, and still they hold themselves and manage to be themselves and be this person despite everything that happens and everything that's already happened. And when I was looking through protagonists for this year, there was nothing that really pulled that properly as a single character for me. And that's why I chose Ash Lynx as my choice for protagonist.
That's fair. Very faggot. No, I really enjoyed his character as well. It was just not like fucking. He just like, how do I put it? Like, protagonists can feel like a bit of a struggle purely because they need to feel like they've actually grown up in the world, but you also need to get them in the most interesting point of their life. That's really fucking difficult. Ash Lynx is a product of the world of Banana Fish. Like, he just oozes like that world. You know what I mean? Like, at no point does he do anything, and you sat there and go, really? Is this what that guy would do? I only say this because my pick's also Ash Lynx. Fuck it, it doesn't matter. This
He's running the format. Fuck it, we'll just go to the next.
No, that's why I'm talking so, because I'd rather we got it all out of the way now. Yeah, no, I'm just fucking saying it now. Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, no, it's good. You feel like nothing Ash Lynx ever does makes you look at him and go, was that really what a fucking kid who grew up in constant child abuse in New York really do? No, of course not. Everything he does is like true to character. He's a bit weeby with the fact that he's like never missed with his fucking gun, but like, fuck it, that doesn't really matter. But yeah, no, it's a good character. Correctly, he's a good character for that show. He'd be a terrible protagonist in another show, but he is a great protagonist in that show.
I agree entirely. He is perfect for the setting he's given and the story that is presented for that, which to me is just key for excellent writing, if anything else.
I will say, 2018 bear have not gotten fucking complacent because this was a terrible year for protagonists, in my opinion.
I also agree. This was one that I really looked at, and Ash was the only choice for me.
Yep, same. Like, the rest of them were just fucking bad. Joe, share your bad opinion.
Okay, here's my bad opinion from a bad anime that you don't care about in the slightest. It's Trevor fucking Belmont.
Boo.
From Castlevania. Boo. Yeah, but just fuck that. Fuck me, I guess.
And that's
that. Just move on. Okay. So, Alistair, what's your choice?
No,
So,
God damn it,
Joe,
Joe.
so
Joe, eat shit and die.
yes, fuck you.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah, in a similar-ish kind of vein, Trevor Belmont's very much a product of his world that he's had to grow up in, and like he's been brought up just to fight vampires, fight monsters, and before he was even able to do that, he's had all of that taken away from him just because people didn't like his family. So then he's immediately ostracized, sent out into the world by himself, and has very quickly not learned to not give a shit about anyone else, even when they're the Night Horde is coming to kill everyone and everything in Dracula's crusade against the world. But then we get to see him grow from that over a very short. Well, I say very short period of time. He's never been inherently a cunt, but we see him just go back to his roots throughout the show. Grow back into what he was always meant to be, a vampire killer, and be really good at it while having a great personality to go with it. He does make like what I think is a few too many quips during a couple of his fight scenes, but I think that's more endearing to him than detrimental, because it's just he's got the confidence in his skills because this is what he does. The fact that he also is able, he's not shown to be like the omnipotent great fighter that some shows will like to pull out. He very readily admits he has his weaknesses, and the fact that he can't do the magic, he can't read the runes. So he will rely on his companions that he makes, despite his best efforts to be standoffish and not approachable. And it just really works quite well. He brings the whole dynamic of the three characters of Castlevania together, and there isn't a single moment where they're on screen that I wasn't engaged in the entire thing. Which I know is a strange thing, considering they're pretty much always on screen, because that show just is focused on them when it's not on the.
When it's not on all the vampires.
Yeah. And
when they're not sat in a
library
for 3
Library.
weeks.
Well, yeah, and even then, that I was never not engaged whenever.
No, it's still interesting.
Even when he was just talking to himself.
Yeah,
I'll say.
Season 1, Trevor, would easily have taken protagonist for me, because those first 4 episodes set him up. Alucard and him have that classic confrontation where he says, "Do you care?" And he's like, "Honestly, I didn't, but now I think I might." Or Orly says, like, "Michael, you need to die." He doesn't think about it. Strong character. And then for the other 8 episodes of the season, they take all that and shoot it in the fucking head, because he's finished his character arc by episode 4.
Elamau, Alistair.
Elamau.
Right, this is where everybody's gonna go.
Sorry, Joe. I thought you finished.
No, just a quick anecdote. I also think that just side thing, Richard Armitage's performance as him is stellar. He captures it perfectly.
Yeah. Okay. My protagonist pick. Interestingly enough, probably one of the reasons I have not picked the protagonists of the 3 protagonists that have been mentioned thus far is because I actually haven't. Well, I've watched some of March Comes In Like a Lion, but not all of it. But I haven't watched the other 2. Yeah, so my protagonist was difficult because there actually wasn't really that many, as previous has been said. There weren't actually that many good ones. So I picked the one that, for me, out of the shows that I watched, that was the most interesting main protagonist. And this is where I'm going to disagree with Crunchyroll. He's a protagonist, not an antagonist. He's the villain, but he's the protagonist. I'm picking Ainzel Gone because he's interesting in the sense of you finally get to see, the story from the villain's perspective, essentially. He is the demon lord. He is the overlord of this world. And you get to watch everything from his perspective, but also not just only from his perspective, but also his internal thoughts, as in he's trying to pretend to be this thing that he isn't, and he's slowly growing into it because his emotions are slowly changing and he's losing his humanity. But also you get to see him from other people's perspectives. You get to see it from a hero's perspective of what he's like to the rest of the human world. And I think he's the person that makes that show, honestly. He is the reason that show works. And He's also the reason there was a lot of controversy about that show, which people didn't understand until they got to that point, and I don't know how, but yes, he is the villain. And he's great. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yep,
Nobody's going to agree with
I like Overlord. I like Ansel Gao. It's great.
And those are the 3 silent people in the chat.
I mean, I don't want. I'm going to stay quiet.
Yeah, me too. I'm also going to stay quiet.
I've made my.
I would also
clear.
not like to be controversial.
I'm not going to bring down the mood of this by talking.
I like Ash a lot as a character. I only watched 1 episode of Banana Fish before I realised it wasn't for me, and he was great in it.
Yes, I concur. Hugh, I also enjoyed your pick. It was an excellent choice.
No,
I saw him the one time.
It's fine. I understand.
Genuinely,
Crying
I really love your choice, Hugh, because I absolutely adore that show quite a lot. And honestly, it did slip my mind because it feels like the show has been continuing for ages at this point, given the season overlap and the way it keeps going. I just never expected it to get picked up so much back to back, almost. You know.
I know what you mean.
And I think that's why I keep associating it much further back than it was.
I associated it distinctly with 2017 until the rules change came in, and then I realised that I start bringing certain shows. So
Yeah.
he distinctly works in there for me. I feel I basically sat down and explained why he was my pick, as opposed to actually explaining him as a character. In terms of being a character, he spends the course of the show. The show is relatively slow moving, but it distinctly follows him from being this guy who has had quite a bad childhood, in the idea that his parents have died. He has been placed into a home where he's been adopted. The adopted home has not been a place that he has particularly enjoyed. He's gone off on his own after finding something he is passionate about, but that passion is almost not there anymore. He almost doesn't want to do the thing that he's doing, despite the fact that he wants to do the thing that he's doing. He wants to do it, and as a result, it's making him miserable.
Oh, Shinji, what a little bitch.
Yeah, but
Shinji doesn't do it.
Yeah,
He
whereas
does.
Kiriyama Rei, he basically, I'm calling him Rei from now on. Rei spends the entire time throughout the course of things finding more and more ways as to why actually his life is good. Finding friends, finding surrogate families, finding a reason to keep playing this game that actually he was slowly losing his interest in, because he found, I've got something to go for. Yes, absolutely. He realizes why he wants to do it, as opposed to why he's being forced to do it. And I feel that culminates near the end of the second season, where you do get this big kind of conclusion. Sorry, Ben.
No, sorry, you were the one talking, man.
That's all right. I'm done.
It's a fantastic story, and he's a fantastic character. But I oddly enough, looking at it, and despite the fact we said it's a poor year for protagonists, genuinely, my first thought when seeing the protagonist thing was, all right, Goblin Slayer. He's got one thing on his mind, and that's it. But he's a fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant role. And then I thought properly about protagonists, and I thought about Ash, and I was just like, no, he's like, as Lewis said, he's built to the world he's in, but he's so brilliant in the world that he's in, and I think
Goblin Slayer is a great character. He is a terrible protagonist.
Yeah.
He's he's a walking, talking, engaging plot device. I'd hate to say it. It's in his fucking name. He is there to kill goblins. Why? Because that's the premise. He's not a good protagonist.
Yeah.
But the reason I'd stand by Ash over Ray is, and it's a weird reason. It's because in my head, season 1, that protagonist, I'd have picked him as probably top protagonist that year. And I've been like, I'll roll with that. Maybe even for the next part where it extended after. But when it hit the end of season 2, spanning over the amount of time it has, at that point, to me, he's a character from a much older series.
Yeah.
If you catch my drift.
Yeah.
If I were to pick the protagonist from Full Metal Panic, I'd be picking the protagonist from Full Metal Panic as the same protagonist from fucking 8 years ago.
Hell, you
No.
can make the
And-
argument. Make the argument
and
for
I
Akira
can't-
Fudo.
Yeah,
And I
that's one of the reasons I actually didn't pick the main protagonist from Full Metal Panic, because I actually was thinking about doing that.
What do you mean you can't pick
No,
Sosuke for everything?
Exactly, because I can't justify it because I'm so it's so clouded and the judgment depends so much on those previous moments, and that doesn't take anything away from them as a protagonist, but for me it takes it away from I should give it to someone that deserves it for this year specifically, whereas
can
I
get
feel
that.
whereas I feel they have so much more build up, so much more characterization from before that I can never give it them for just this year because it will always be them as a whole. And I know that that's probably a stupid thing because it's ruling out so much shit. Technically, by saying that, I should never be able to vote for like JoJo or anything like that. But it's just a character specific perspective for me that I feel that.
I get the logic. I do distinctly get the logic.
But yeah, I do. It's just one that I'd entirely forgot, and I wish I'd remembered, but I don't think it would have altered my vote.
Well, there we go. Again, just we're getting onto these things again. All of these awards are subjective, and I feel every single one of us has an opinion, and I don't feel that anybody in this chat has
Mate, if we all fucking agreed on it, it'd be a very boring fucking show.
No, absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
Basically, we'd all sit in a room, cigar in mouth, giant French mustache going. We'd be twiddling. Hinamatsuri! Hinamatsuri! We'd toast with pork, drink a bit, then mix hands and shake hands to everyone either side from us as we sit in our lazy boy recliners.
Yeah,
That sounds baller. Can we do that?
That's why we vote. And on that note,
on that note, let's move on to the next award, which is best side character.
Most
So,
difficult
Hugh.
award for me.
Is right. Here is the character that if I don't say the name of the show, no one will understand where they're from.
Oh, don't worry, I'm getting that as well, I think.
My nomination is Hoshino Eru from Dragon Pilot. So, Dragon Pilot is also a show.
I was gonna say, I don't know what that is even with you saying the name.
Exactly. So, Dragon Pilot is on Netflix. Dragon Pilot's on Netflix. It's a show basically about a girl who figures out that dragons exist. Dragons exist. They are a main part of life in the world for certain reasons. And over the course of a couple of years, different groups have been looking after them in places where they can look after them best. And in the modern world, the best place to look after dragons is in the Air Force. Because you can disguise them as planes.
I was going to say, did she figure out dragons existed by looking up?
She essentially gets invited to be a dragon pilot. Anyway, Hoshino Eru is a character that is introduced about 3 or 4 episodes in. She is the pilot of one of the other dragons. She is a very stubborn, very militaristic character who wants to be proven correct. She wants to be a good pilot. She wants to prove that she is a very good pilot to both everyone else around her, her family, her father, everyone who ever doubted her. And as a result, that holds her back because she does not accept help from anyone. She does not allow anyone in. And throughout the course of the show, she starts to learn how to let people in. And despite the fact she's not the main character, she essentially, I'd argue, gets the best arc out of any character in that show. She has no hope in winning this award because I'm the only one that's watched this show. And on that note, I shall just sit here and say she's my award. I love her. I think she's great. I know she's not winning it. Ben.
So my favorite side character is Hitomi from Hinamatsuri.
Smash that win button.
Because Hitomi practically steals the show in so many occasions, such as being and has arguably some of the funniest moments in the entire show. such as in being forced to run half of the jobs that she ends up doing, as she is the most normal of the characters that gets dragged into all of the bullshit that happens. And like you said before, she's just the character trailing behind as everyone's like, yeah, let's go to a cabaret club. And she's just there like, why am I still here?
Just to suffer.
And she's just forced into being a barmaid, which leads to so many hilarious moments, like her teacher showing up and trying to get around that. And she is just such a brilliantly well developed and interesting character, yet at the same time provides just as much comedy gold as the main character of the show. And I was really skeptical about choosing this because when I was going through it, I was looking at it, I was thinking, isn't. When you look at Hina Matsuri, can you really call Hina and Nita the main characters?
No, it's fucking yuppie, dude.
Because of because of the amount of things you go through. But no, they really are. When you think about it, you look at the plot as a whole and what it's all about. Those two are the main characters, and so I couldn't not choose Hitomi due to the fact that she is a side character that feels like she could be a main character and is the source of so much greatness in this show.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she's excellent. She's my favourite character in that show completely.
Excellent, move on!
Round that last word. Joe!
Okay, my award.
It's been 90 minutes, quickly!
Yeah. My award for best side character goes to Emperor Jurgen of Rune Farlord L. Nix from the Overlord series.
Who's that? Briefly describe their advantages and disadvantages.
Jesus fucking Christ!
I do realise the doing that is wasting more time.
That's the joke!
So he's the Emperor of the Bharat Empire in one of the three major factions in Overlord. He's a slightly above average intelligent person compared to like some of the characters that they showed, the hyper intelligent characters on Ainz's side. However, my favorite thing about him is he suffers from Lex Luthor syndrome.
Is he discount Gilgamesh?
Yes, he's discount Gilgamesh.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, discount Gilgamesh, yeah.
And as I say, he suffers from what I call Lex Luthor syndrome, in the fact that in the Superman comics, Lex Luthor is aware of Clark Kent. He cannot bring himself to ever make the connection that Clark Kent is Superman because he thinks Superman must be proud of what he does. He lives in a big castle. He does everything like that. He can. Jerknev cannot believe that Ainz is just a regular person. Everything he does must be perfectly calculated, perfectly done, and there is no way he's just monging his way through life having no clue what the fuck he is doing. And it's just great to watch his slow descent into madness throughout the series of just trying to figure out what's going to happen next when there is no way that he can ever actually do it.
Yep, he's good. I like the bit where they turn up and they wreck his entire soldier base and then just leave. Yep. It's like the one moment from the show I actually.
Yeah, and I look forward to many more moments of it when the series inevitably gets through to the next set of novels.
Yeah, it will indeed. Louis boy.
Excellent. I've cheated and combined two into one. It's the Forge Masters from Castlevania, Isaac and Hector. I think they come as a double act because in the show they're presented as a double act. They're introduced as a double act. They go through the entire show as a double act right up until the end when they diverge. For reference, these are the two characters which actually provide Dracula's army, and they are the only humans on his entire homeboy squad, and they want to exterminate all of humanity. The reason I like it is because they've got two very different lenses, one fueled by hatred, the other fueled by naivete. They're excellent different sides of the coin going for the same objective, and it's interesting to watch where they finally end up, because arguably Isaac ends up in a better place despite being the more hateful character, whereas Hector ends up in the worst case because of his naivete. But he engages in a horrible objective of genocide, effectively. And the two characters are probably the two most interesting characters out of Dracula's posse, apart from Dracula himself. And it's just kind of interesting to watch, particularly the two of them interact, especially when they flip between being chummy with each other and then fucking despising each other the next minute. In particular, Isaac, where he views Hector as essentially just a puppy, as does most of the cast. It'll be good to see them in season 3 if there is one. If not,
they said there is.
If not, a shame. There'll be some wasted characterizations. Fuck, Alistair!
That's a name.
Jesus Christ!
I like the fact that they
Oh, sorry,
start.
I didn't see that.
Is he actually called Jerkniv? He's fucking jerking it.
He's jerking it.
I
They
like
just
the
call him
fact
Jer
that-
for short.
I like the fact that the Forge Masters start in the same place and end up in vastly different places because of one difference in decision.
Literally that,
Right.
and
It's
that is
brutal.
fueled by their character, and also like how they have different methods for forging, and the fact that you see both the different methods because they make sense for the characters.
No, it's
Yeah.
they're excellent characters. They are.
I knew you-
They are fantastic characters. Out of interest, Lewis,
Yeah.
do you only pick them as a pair, or is there one you would prefer? I have put them as a pair, but I'm just out of interest.
I put them as a pair. I think the overall stronger character is probably Isaac, but I think that's because they make a deliberate effort to characterize him more. If I'm being honest, Hector has got one of my least favorite tropes in all of anything ever, where he is characterized, if you recall, in his first scene with Dracula, by staring into a fire for 30 seconds and they play an audio clip of his parents burning to death. Boring! Fucking boring! You look at Isaac, he's got a whole fucking BDSM backstory where he wants to be whipped by his fucking Templar sugar daddy, and then he fucking gouges his eye out. Yeah, I think I know which one they're trying to characterize more, so yeah. Isaac takes it begrudgingly, because the show spent more time on him, even if I prefer Hector as a character.
Alistair.
Okay, so
That's
mine, I literally, you could pick almost any character from this show and it would work. But my character I picked for side character is also Hitomi for Nia Matsuri. Because she... I mean, she is basically one of the main reasons that show works. Like, she holds up that show as the sense of normality that runs throughout that show, but still she's in the weirdest and dumbest situations of working behind that bar. And it's just great. I could have, there were at least 3 other characters from that show that you could have probably put in this category, but I think Hitomi's probably the best out of all of them. And the fact that she stands out from an already great cast is, I think, just enough on its own to just.
Alright, well, we know
warrant
who's
that.
won the category.
She proves more than anything that a straight person in a mental world can provide better comedy than the mental world itself.
Comedy, right? TikTok, gentlemen.
Oh, dearie me.
I think we probably covered most of that.
Yes, we've discussed the same character 3 times. Now come the fuck on. Let's all just get to Dracula.
Okay, so
Thank you. That's my other prediction. Right. Alistair, introduce it. Alistair, introduce it.
next category is best antagonist.
Dracula!
Alright, it's Dracula, right.
Yeah,
No,
right.
Hugh. We're doing this in order, Lewis.
You pick Dracula.
It's real from Devilman Crybaby, but I'm gonna vote for.
Alright, excellent. Alistair, what's your pick?
What, has everybody picked Dracula?
Yes.
No, I also picked Rio, but I'll probably swap to Dracula.
Thank you.
Get on the hype train! No, let's have.
Do this seriously, please.
It was a toss up between both of them. Let's discuss both. Hugh, start.
Well, Alistair, what's yours?
Let's do this. Okay. Mine
Alistair,
is something
Fair,
completely
I think
different.
I'm not gonna lie. I think it's gonna be the 2. Shall we just quickly say the names and get straight to the discussion? Hugh,
right. Asakiryo from Devilman Crybaby.
I
So-
am Dracula. I am.
I'm Dracula, here we go.
I am Dracula.
Vlad Dracula Tepesh from Castlevania.
Mine is also Rio from Devilman Crybaby.
Toss between the 2, and it's Vlad Dracula the Tepesh the Third. You uncultured asshole.
Oh, kill me!
Oh, I'm so glad I chose this category to put the show that nobody's going to vote for, because I was never going to win this anyway with the 2 picks that you guys keep putting up. But actually, I'm going to go with Cyrorg Bale from High School DxD.
So Rio's a very strong character.
Yes,
Let's
he
begin
is.
there.
Thank you.
He is, yeah.
Wait,
He
let
is.
Alistair do his first.
Yeah, sorry, Alistair.
Okay,
Explain why
I'm
you're
gonna-
wrong.
I'm going to give my reason for why I like
get
it. I
one.
think he's the best antagonist, because one, he's not actually a villain.
That's it.
Well,
We're done.
that's it.
I'm
That's
not
your one.
done. Shut up.
That's your reason.
I'm kidding, mate.
No, he's all intents and purposes the person that Issei aspires to be and looks up to, because Cyrorg, even though he is a full-blood devil, was not born with the devil powers that he was supposed to receive from his family, as in his family was supposed to pass down the powers of destruction. It didn't actually go to his family. It went to his cousins, as in Rias and her brother. So changed family to the Gremory family, and he's been shunned ever since. And the entire family has been trying to kick him out of the family to not have him be the successor. And he's been fighting hand and fist, just training his body up to become to the same level as a pure blood devil, even though he doesn't have devil powers. And he manages to become the best of his generation at playing the rating game, as in the fighting thing that they do. And Issei aspires to be him a lot, and he looks up to him, and the season culminates in a rating game between the two houses, with culminating in a fight between Saorg and Issei, and they both cannot lose for their own reasons, and they both want the other person to win as well, but they cannot lose so badly that it turns out it's one of the most epic fights ever and one of the best clashes. And he is a brilliant antagonist for Issei because they actually look up to each other so much. Yeah, it's actually a very sensible pick for a very random show.
Ryu's a strong character.
Ryo is a strong character. So first was Dracula, second was Ryo, I think, in my case. I imagine it's the opposite for you guys. To summarize briefly, I reckon that Dracula takes it because he has more time for his character arc. He gets the entirety of both seasons to do his character arc. He's literally the second character on screen. You see his struggle. He is the main character. You see him go all the way from that to, spoiler alert, committing suicide via Alucard. And basically you see the whole thing. Ryo gets a whole 35 seconds to say that he's, spoiler alert, Satan, and then gets to fucking be a villain. And he gets to enjoy that spot for one whole episode.
I'd argue...
I don't think he has a strong character arc.
I would argue that he's shown off very much near the beginning with the fact that he essentially sacrifices his best and only friend to the demons in order to, number one, get footage of it to show it's always happening, and number two, push his own agenda.
Yeah, but where does he go from there? Where is the
I
arc?
agree with
Also, we
that.
see at the very start he's a man who would kick a puppy.
Yeah,
But the thing is, that totally contradicts his position at the end. Where it's like, yeah, I'd sacrifice my best friends. Then at the end, it's like, no, my best friend is everything. And
I would argue that is his character arc, where essentially he goes through this idea of he starts off in one way, and as everything goes on, starts to realize what he's done is different and difficult and all of that. And while I am the only one talking, Alistair, I actually think you made a really good argument, and I think it's actually a very good pick.
Thank you. I was my sensible High School DxD pick. I was sensible with that.
You are indeed. You are indeed.
Yeah,
Good boy.
And also, bearing in mind, you do realise I'm probably the tiebreaker for this vote later.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
But
I'll be happy if either wins.
I will agree that Dracula has a stronger arc, but I think that's only for me because I find it slightly weakening on Ryo's position. The fact that he is, for the first 5 episodes or so, he is unaware of that he is evil, even though some of the stuff he does is very indicative of that.
I get that, but Dracula is one of the most. Dracula is one of the best written, well played out characters I have ever seen in an anime ever in existence. I look at that character and I look at it and I think this is the epitome of writing I would hold any standard gladly to. This is. I genuinely watched Castlevania, especially the second series, and at the end of the second to last episode, I was just sat there and I was like, this is this is just greatness. This is fantastic. This is the perfect way to show off a character. This is everything I'd want to show and feel. It's someone who knows what they're going through, who feels so much pain, feels so much emotion, feels everything they're going through, and despite this knows that they can only push forwards with that hate because they've got no love left because their love died. And despite the fact that they want to die with it so they can feel that love again, so that they can just be human again, they can't because they're not. And so they keep fighting and they keep pushing in the only way they know how, despite how futile they know it is, and despite the fact that even if they'd have won, I think that would have been the worst possibility for them. And to say the villain winning is the worst ending for them is very similar between the two.
Well, it's
But-
the bit
But
where Alec.
the difference is that Dracula accepts it and goes through with it and has it's just such a fantastic build up, and the voice acting and everything behind it just makes it so powerful, so emotional, and such an amazing character in every regard. From every little thing they add to them, like the fact that he stares into the fireplace the entire time in his office, whereas when Alucard sits in the office he faces the door and he sees the memory of himself young and his mother there, and you realize for the first time Dracula faced the fireplace the entire time away from the door, never looking at anyone. Not because he was a broody motherfucker, but because he couldn't face the memories that he saw when looking back out that door the same way Alucard does. And all of this just builds up and culminates, and Alucard summarizes it entirely in the fact that the entire two series are just the world's longest suicide note for Dracula. And that's what it is. And it's just such a beautifully well written character that you struggle to see in anything, let alone anime, movies, whatever medium. I just had to sit back, and I can't believe how brilliantly this character was done. And so there's nothing else I can really say from that. But
Alrighty then.
It's a good point to
Okay,
end on, I'd say.
Yeah, no,
I
say
think
no.
you guys have covered both, unless there's something else somebody wants to say, but you've argued both
Oh
sides.
no, I was just talking about fucking character arcs, and just to add on to his point, fucking, it's the bit where Alucard fucking talks about the fucking machines and plans he saw in Dracula's study of just a world covered in night, and it'd just be him lonely in his castle with his revenge sated, and that's not the ending he wants, but it's the one he's gonna fucking get. So we better kill the bastard, and actually gives a reason for them to do something. Yeah, right. Let's move on.
Okay, so that covers the first part of the character awards, and we'll have a short interlude with that, with my joke award, which I've called the By Poking My Master's Headlights Award. I wonder what show that comes from. For best character power-up. So Hugh, go ahead.
The best character power-up is Akira Fuda becoming Devilman. It's just excellent. It's one of the most iconic power-ups in anime and manga history, and we got to see it in all its perfection glory on the big screen. It's an excellent scene. It's one of my favorite scenes of the year. It's awesome, and Akira is the perfect man to be Devilman. It's awesome.
And that noodle advert based on that transformation's fucking Gucci.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely great.
Yeah, it's fucking
noodle
brilliant,
adverts.
No, I mean, you're objectively correct, Hugh. I've got a meme answer, but you are objectively correct.
No, I also agree
Okay,
Hugh
Lewis.
is objectively correct, and that was the answer I had until I thought, shit, I can come up with something funny.
And your funny one is?
Your funny one.
So my funny special ability, of course, it's the special ability of losing all your fingers. As presented in Baki, fingers are nothing but a restraint. And so when you lose all your fingers, you can punch with no worries of hurting yourself or breaking anything as hard as you possibly can. So losing all your fingers is the ultimate power-up for any fighter.
What is the verb you use to fist someone if it's just your forearm? Forearming?
Stumping.
That sounds weird. Stumping? That's what I was thinking.
Stumping.
Oh
Winning.
God. Okay, Joe.
So,
Mine is Devilman. I didn't come up with a meme answer. Just like that, say exactly the same as you. It's absolutely brilliant. And yeah, it will. I think Hugh's right. It will be the iconic power-up scene for quite some time to come.
mine is rather simple. It is the priestess from Goblin Slayer whose plot armor only gets thicker as those around her get raped more.
Oh, God. Oh, he went there. There it is.
I see.
Oh God.
Think about it. Think about it.
There we
Initial scene. Bitch is getting raped. Suddenly the priestess has got ill interest lost in her. Later on, when they're fucking the elf girl, suddenly no more priestess rape.
God.
Oh God.
And that is,
right.
you got to follow
Mine.
that up.
Mine, I took a sensible pick from a meme show. I basically took Issei's love confession at the end of the season. Because normally Issei gets his power-ups
Audible gasp.
by poking certain things or grabbing certain things.
Tits.
Are you being coy now?
But
As he grabs his master's fucking bristles and gives them a squeeze.
But in this case, throughout the entire season, one of the main through-arcing plots of this is Issei not fully understanding that a bunch of these girls, well, Rias in particular, actually loves him in the sense of he just believes that she's been playing master servant with him. And
what a horrible show.
No, it gets finally you get to the point where Issei just lets it all go and just goes to hell with it, and it happens during the Serorg fight where he does it, and it's in front of a crowd of literally millions of devils, and he just blurts it out in the middle of the fight. He just blurts it out in the middle of the fight and unlocks his super duper queen armor. That is amazing. But yeah, and it's what he actually does to enable him to actually beat Serorg in the end. And it's... Wow.
Spoiler doesn't get
for anyone that cares.
Spoiler doesn't get all his arms and legs blown off and the stumps get raped.
But yeah, it's one of the highlight moments of High School DxD, and for me, it was one of the highlight moments of the year as well, because I've been waiting for that ever since Bourne fucked it up.
Hey, there we go. And Alistair, this now after a short interlude.
Now moving on to the second part of the character, Best Boy.
Ben, you've got me for this, right?
Okay, so Hugh.
I changed.
Oh, no, I need to go pee.
Then go pee.
Oh, but alright, I think Ben's got me anyway.
I mean, my.
I don't think Ben's got Ben at the moment.
What do you mean I've got you?
I think he means that. All right, my nomination.
Oh shit! You died, Hugh. You died.
Yeah, I know. Lancer from Today's Menu with the Emiya family.
Okay.
I memed. I could not come up with a best boy. I'm just like, I don't think best boy nor best girl is a particularly category that I like voting on, because it's like, what quantifies it? I don't really care. I'm going to go for the boy this year that I liked the most. I like Lancer a lot. I think he's great. I thought he was great in this show. Boom. He's my nomination.
Point of the award,
Yeah, exactly. It's my nomination. Boom. Get in my sack.
Ben.
Mine is Honda-san from Skeleton Bookseller Honda-san. Because Honda-san is your best boy. He's there trying his best to sell you whatever books he possibly can, while desperately being nervous and thinking the worst thoughts possible. Honda is literally the perfect boy, and I would gladly cuddle him all throughout the night.
Who the fuck's Honda?
Honda tells you what yaoi is in the only way you need to know.
Okay, cool.
Honda is a skeleton guy that sells you books.
Oh,
Yeah.
that homeboy, yeah. That cracker.
Okay, Joe.
In an attempt to just get every possible Castlevania character I can in this, it's Alucard. I don't really have much to say because, like you, I don't really have much for either of these next two categories in terms of best boy and best girl. But I did really like him as a character. He's suave, he's powerful. I liked him the second he's on screen, and I think he looks great, he acts great, and yeah, it was just really fun to see him.
Okay, Lewis.
Cool. Ash Link's previous reasons, weak fucking year. Alistair.
Mine.
Man, I was going to go for Ash.
Nobody will be surprised with this. Sakata from Bunny Girl Senpai.
He's
Is that the main character?
That is the main character. Yes.
He's the only male.
What a soy
He's
boy.
the only male character in that show.
Also, probably about one. As you all know, I don't take interest in male characters in shows. Just because they bore me.
Shock.
So I took one the only thing I could think of as like, a male character that was interesting, but for more of the reasons of my best girl pick that we'll get to.
Oh god, yeah. There we go. There's the
Oh,
two
well,
predictions.
that hints!
There's the segue.
Oh dear.
Anyway, moving on. Unless people want to discuss that,
It's a weird category you can't really justify. It's just who did you like best?
Yeah,
I
it
know
is.
you.
What do you like?
okay. So best girl, Hugh.
Oh god, I've lost it. It's Hattori Chisei from The Ancient Mage's Bride. I really like
Oh
her.
yeah, good pick.
Wait,
She's-
was that
she's
the
good-
year?
Yeah, it ended
it's-
2018.
Me.
Again, she's like Kiriyama Rei, who just kind of turned up and went, "Hey, we finished in 18. Get out of my way." She's this is my hardest one to pick because again, I don't really do best girls. She has a really good character arc. She's super interesting. She gets bought by someone in the beginning of the show, and slowly but surely learns about why she is worth something and how she can actually do something.
She's worth all
it's
that
just
money.
like Shield Hero.
Yeah, we'll get on to Shield Hero in our mid. Anyway, there we go. Hattori Chisei is my pick.
That's a good pick. I think her season 1 form is better than her fucking second phase. But
You mean the OVA one?
Yeah. I think the character's a bit stronger there. They cut deep on that one, whereas I feel that they do occasionally cut around her a little bit for the world building in the actual show. But she's good. She's still good.
I get that.
Ben.
So, I think
My pick is Anzu from Hinamatsuri because she is a treasure that should be protected throughout all of the ages.
She protects,
Excellent.
she attack, but she also get protect.
She is the perfect daughter,
She protects,
and
she
oh
attacks,
my
she
god,
steals
she
snack.
makes me so happy to exist. She
That's
doesn't
cool.
exist, and that makes me even more sad.
That's cool.
Okay. Joe.
As I don't know much for this, I'm picking a character I liked from a terrible show, Mordred, Fate Apocrypha. There's not much for me to give you on this. I'll readily give my vote to Hugh on this one for both this and for Best Boy because he's picked me out the water for them.
I'm just looking, going. Hang on a minute, that was 2018.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's 2017, buddy. I think you might want to pick another one.
I thought for
Quick,
Oh, fine. Historic Tuesday. God, Hugh gets my vote
Alright.
regardless. I'm sorry, I
Thank you.
failed.
Just say Hattori Chisei so I can vote for her.
She's already in the vote section.
Damn it! Fuck! We've fudged it up.
I could
Lewis.
easily delete
Alright,
it, but fuck you all.
Honestly, not the kind of character that I usually think go for, but I've kind of got Alistair sort of aversion to male characters, female characters, because it's not that well written, which is why it's great to actually see this year had a few well written characters. That being said, despite the fact that she didn't have anywhere near enough fucking screen time, which is fairly criminal given the scope of what she was in, and she was ultimately overshadowed by Nick Cage, it goes to Penny Parker.
Yes.
And I invite anyone to deny me the fact that she is an anime character.
No, you're correct.
I don't
Honestly,
even know
though, she's
what are you talking about?
Penny Parker from Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse. She's an
Okay.
anime character drawn in an anime style, and she is from future Japan.
She literally jumps off her mech, says "Konnichiwa, hajime mashite, yoroshiku."
Yeah,
I'll give you a sneak peek.
She's Japanese diva, Alistair.
bubbly character, well written, actually well written character. Shame about the fucking spider lolly being looted, but despite that, actually a really well written character that I fucking quite like. And there we go. And the fact that she bounces off of Nick Cage, and that's important because that way you get to see more Nick Cage. Come on, man. Also, she's got a spider powered mech. That's Ben's nightmare. I jerk off thinking about that.
I'm glad you jerk off thinking about me scared because you do that on top of me as well.
Anyway, yeah, but good, great character. Loved her.
So I already teased mine. My best boy and best girl kind of was a pair because they work so well together. But yeah, my best girl is Sakurajima Mai from Bunny Girl Senpai because she was best girl of the year.
She's really good. She has a good arc. She's an interesting character. I like the dynamic. I'm with you on
Yeah,
that one.
I
She's
kind
fine.
of picked both of them as best boy and best girl as a pair because they work together. That's why they work. Is because they both they bounce off each other and that. That's why they work as characters and why I enjoy them so much. That's
You've
hence
picked
why they I picked both of them.
You picked a solid choice. The fact that in the second episode, there's a scene where she's like, I'm going into the shower, don't peek on me. And he's just like, I probably will. And she just looks at him with this face of disgust, weird, and yeah, all right then. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm sold on this character. Because it was all just portrayed in one facial movement. She's got great facial movements. I just like that about her.
Okay. So I think that's sorted for those. We shall move on to our next
Boy, howdy, what a great Hannah College ripoff.
Our next jokey award.
I thought that snuck under the radar, but there we go.
I activated the hyena.
Am I interested in this one? It's mine.
I think it's yours, isn't it?
It is indeed mine. Right, ladies.
Yes, therefore you introduce it, good sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Peugeot 106 from eBay award for a show that was worse than you could have possibly imagined.
Hugh, do you mind if I briefly just snipe this one?
Yeah, sure.
If you say anything, any of you, other than space fishing, you're objectively wrong.
Oh, I was going to say mine's my sister, my writer, because it's
because if you don't pick that, you're also objectively wrong.
Space fishing, given we have all been in the chat of Hugh tweeting the space fishing,
has been a
selection for everyone, and I don't speak. Well, I don't. Fuck off. I speak for everyone. That we all considered it.
Oh no, absolutely. It's my number 2 placement. My Sister, My Writer gets my award simply because it not only manages to be horrendous, it also manages to be horrendous, not pay the people that are working for it, and yet somehow manage to get completed. I genuinely do not know how
It's a miracle. You're my miracle.
You're a miracle, Charlie. Literally. I do not know how that show got finished. I don't know how that show even got started in the position it is. God, it's awful. God, did I laugh all the time through it. Ben.
You did it.
You did it, my sister.
Right? You survived the abortion.
Ben.
My choice is the Junji Ito collection. Oh my fucking Christ! Was that anything more than an absolute steaming turd slapped all over a train that madly smashed into a pile of... I can't think of something funny, but I imagine it funny.
Imagine it slamming into a fucking spiral, so that way it keeps
going! No, Lewis, imagine it slamming into Spyro.
Oh,
and,
God.
And
there's mangled purple dragon everywhere.
My childhood, it was just...
He's dead.
It's such...
Long live the king.
Junji Ito has a great and messed up mind, yet it really... I was skeptical going into the anime, and I was sat there like, how are you going to translate this properly? And the correct answer was, they're not. They're in fact going to essentially grab the manga, put a coloured version of it on the screen, and then smear as much shit over that coloured version as they possibly can, and then decide that that is animated frames.
Was it better or worse than fucking horror dance the anime?
Oh dear.
Oh God.
I think Junji Ito collection made me collectively give up horror anime.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Horror anime is not working.
It is so bad that you genuinely have a moment of deep sigh of, is it even worth it? Like, My Sister, My Writer, you at least come back to, but this, you're just like, no.
Also, I'm looking at my paper copy of Uzumaki, which is his most famous work. I read it. It was okay, bit predictable because it had been overhyped. Oh well, still good. When I'm sat there watching Junji Ito collection, going, "What the fuck happened?" You know something has gone wrong. When I thought the paper copy was, it's okay. When I go, "What the fuck happened?"
Joe.
I like how much mirth we're getting out of talking about the Garbo shows. You guys should try my way of living.
Yeah, we really do. Joe.
Okay, Joe, yours.
So I gave myself a bit of a criteria of this one. If it had to be something I actually watched like to completion, like even a full episode of, like properly without influence of someone else. So I can't put Space Station because I only watched an episode of that because Hugh was watching.
I forced you to watch the last episode.
So I have to pick. I picked something that I did watch the entirety of again, but unfortunately this is kind of because of you guys. The fucking Neo Yokio Christmas special.
Yay!
I'd heard rumors of that show.
Amazing.
Nothing could have prepared me for what you guys showed me there.
God, that special was worse than the
as-
show itself.
As a quick bit of a lead-in, this may not be the only category with which Neo Yokio appears.
Oh,
Ooh.
I am so disappointed.
Lewis.
Right, mine is space fishing. On every level, this is fundamentally Garbo.
Between the sky and the sea.
Now, the exact thing of this was worse than you could ever have imagined. That means there had to be expectations. This is not you watch something and it's bad. I watched Hugh's live streams and I thought, looks pretty bad. Move on. Then we watched the last episode. Fuck your rule, Joe. This is garbage. So, there is terrible voice acting, no animation, CGI out of nowhere, right? Okay, already pretty fucking bad. Oh, but Lewis, that's not bad in comparison to fucking on another show. Yeah, whatever. Here's the bit where it gets even worse. They then introduce a random god system which doesn't fit in the entire thing, at which point it officially becomes the worst thing imaginable because Hugh informs me what it is. It's an advert for a fucking mobile game. The moment he said that, it had officially been cast to fucking hell because there is no way out after that point. This is not like a one-off fucking thing that you do for fucking Fate Grand Order and you put effort into it. No, this is 12 episodes of garbage, which is an advert. There is nothing redeemable you can take out of this. It's not even like fucking My Sister, My Writer, where you could learn obvious lessons from it so that we don't do it in the future, such as pay your fucking staff. You cannot learn anything from this piece of garbage. It is actually the single worst thing to have been produced this year on every fundamental level, from production down to purpose to actual execution. Utter garbage.
And you're forgetting the part where we literally have 5 minutes where there isn't any background music.
Yep.
Because it forgets.
It's
Look,
bad.
you know what?
Every level.
Lewis, I'm adding a special note into the voting notes of Lewis can vote for space fishing in this one.
Right. The fact that space fishing and Perfect Blue could both exist in the same universe convinces me that suicide is still an option.
And if I'm going to animate any of this, it's that.
Moving on to mine. My pick was kind of like the thing that I picked isn't as bad as all of that. It was something that could have actually been pretty decent if it actually put its mind to it and actually put the budget in and actually did things. But it wasn't, and that's Persona 5 the animation. I mean, stylistically, this thing could have been great. We saw what it could have been. We saw what it could have been with the OVA, but it wasn't that. It was not very good.
And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate. You can't top Lewis's rant.
No, I can't.
That's
But
okay.
it doesn't matter.
Just play Persona 5, like fucking Hugh. You can borrow my copy when Hugh's done with it. Just email me, viewers.
Mate, I haven't even started it yet. I've been too busy.
Don't worry, listeners. Just email me and we'll meet by the usual spot. You know the one.
Hey. They won't because they haven't played it.
He's walking on us during.
I feel.
Why are you looking at me during?
I'm looking at them during.
Could you look at me during?
Right.
And I'm just in the bush.
Moving on to the next category of awards. We get to the music awards.
God, I'm unqualified for this.
I think we all are.
I'm not.
I think it sounded nice.
I really like the tunes.
It's on my pod.
So, first music award is for best OP. Just a quick explanation for just listeners. When we're
Openings
talking
are
about
the
best
first
OP,
1.5
we're talking about
minutes of an anime.
The exits to the plane are here, here, here.
just in the sense of how we've marked this. We've not just marked this on like the song. It's the opening, how the song fits with the visuals, and how good the visuals are as well. Like it's not just the song, unless somebody actually has done it that way.
I've done it for the ending, but that's because it's garbage.
Hey, there we go.
Okay, so best OP, Hugh.
My best OP of the year is the OP for Kokyukyu, which no one's watched.
Was that this year?
Yes, it was.
Sorry, last year. Wait, are you fucking kidding me?
Kokyukyu was in winter this year.
Really?
Wait,
Yep.
wait. Oh, yeah.
The
No,
flashback.
yeah. I've just realised what you're on about.
Is
Yeah.
that really what the fuck?
Excellent song,
No, yeah.
excellent visuals. All comes together really, really well. It puts you in the exact mindset you should be in for that show. But who gives a shit? It's going to lose to Castlevania anyway.
The fucking bitch T-posing in that opening, I
I
actually
know, right?
really do like. And she's just like, what up? Here's the baseline's gonna hit you harder than your stepdad.
Oh, it's the bits where all the kids are running across the screen and everything's a bit mental and all the characters are just desperately trying to figure out something. And it's just good opening.
God,
It's
I
just
also
really
enjoyed
good.
Paranoia Agent Ben.
Yeah.
I genuinely love the I love the Kyokuku OP. I forgot it was this year, if I'm honest, and it's kind of thrown me for six. But the OP I chose was Banana Fish, because it just has the perfect moments of just expressing the main character's feelings, the way they go through their just basically the fight of the main character and all the struggles they go through, really emphasized through the first opening, and everything that happens, all the villains that arise, and the fact that during the bit in the opening where those villains are rising up and you can see the flames that are clearly the passion of the main character and the hatred burning, and they grow more intense as everyone you show until you hit the final villain, and it is just a single burning flame in the middle of the screen with just his sketched outline in the background, and you can see that is the most intense, specific, directed fire of hatred at that character, and just the vocals and everything throughout really just hit quite as a heavy one for me of all the OPs this year. Once again, honestly, it really felt like not as good a year of OPs for me, but
No, it was not.
yeah. So that's me.
For me, it goes to the season 2 opening of Seven Deadly Sins, Howling by Flo and Grand Rodeo. I think. Right, that's...
No.
For those of you wondering, I misspelt the name of the show I just nominated. Lewis spelled it right. I said he was right, and so he's pinned the message "You're right" onto our board, so it's always there for him to see.
Wonderful.
Sorry, Joe.
That's all right. I think it works as a really nice transitional song from the start. The first season of Seven Deadly Sins was fairly fantasy-esque, and this is getting this. And season 2, they get ready to basically just grab all the superpowered characters together and get them ready to throw down in a big old death match. I think the visuals go quite well because it's quite a heavy piece of music. It really works quite well with it, and as I said, it transitions really nicely from what you were before, going for what the show is now. And I really like Flo. Like they make good music.
Chiboon Flow.
Chiboon Flow, yes.
I mean, Seven Deadly Sins has just got solid openings, to be fair.
It is pretty
It
good.
does. It really does.
It's a mediocre show overall.
fair-
I enjoyed it, but good music.
To be fair, out of everything, it's one of those things that you can always pull on, like Naruto, One Piece, Black Clover. It's just like you got good openings.
Yeah, like Fairy Tail as well. Like
Yeah.
some great ones.
Okay, Lewis.
Okay, so I'm glad that we talked about the fact this is not just based entirely on music, because the thing that I've got's music is meh. However, in every other aspect, it's the perfect anime opening. So mine is Castlevania, and basically what it does is it does not merely fucking throw visuals out. It uses everything possible in order to make it look beautiful. That includes usage of color, motion, and frame rate, which is something to be talked about. The entire thing opens up in a black and white sort of view of Lisa Tepesh being burned at the stake. Everything's in black and white. The only things moving are the villagers. They're the only ones who are actually instigating anything. All of the people are sat still. You move over Trevor Belmont, who's sat, again, perfectly still, doesn't move or do a single thing. He merely stares on. Cypher looks down the fucking alleyway as she's hiding. Again, her only movements are 4 frames of her tilting her head. Alucard clutches his chest. No movement. All black and white. All 8 frames per fucking second. We get the fucking idea now, Lewis. Then Dracula grabs the motherfucking ash and everything ignites all at once. You suddenly hear high-pitched violins go and we switch to 24 frames per second as everything is suddenly in motion, movement. Although the bad thing has happened and fire is now there. Dracula's moving. Trevor Belmont's moving. Alucard is turning into a wolf and moving. Cypher's casting magic. It perfectly encapsulates the fact that a single event happens and it causes Dracula to explode in his fiery rage. But not only does it affect him, it causes every other character in the show to move into action. It's very visual. Suddenly, rather than this stilted black and white world, it is red with emotion and movement and fire. And you have to, like, there is only one real instrument leading, which is the violin, which goes from a slow, low note into a quick, fast-paced note, which perfectly encapsulates the entire fucking thing. And it's only short because it has to be short, because it is literally summarizing the premise of the show in 1 minute 20. You cannot beat that.
Do you know the only reason why I did not nominate it?
Because it only appears once.
It only appears once, and they needed to use it more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with everything you said. They needed to use it more.
Yeah, that is fair enough, and I wish I could have watched it every time, but it is just, like, it uses every tool available to convey its message, and I think that's something which others lack.
Lewis, I got one question.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that a 2017 opening?
What about Shirley?
God damn it! I was going to make that joke later, but there we go.
Nah, it's alright. Nah, fuck it. I don't care. It's good enough. Otherwise, I don't fucking know.
It's a fucking gold opening.
Yeah, I was like, I don't fucking know. My sister might write her. How was that?
Actually, not as bad as the show.
Castlevania.
Mate, I've had some strains of cholera that weren't as bad as that show.
Okay. This is getting very difficult to follow Lewis, because Lewis does this very well.
I am occasionally impassioned, otherwise I don't care. Don't worry, for best ED, it's gonna be wank.
Okay, so my best opening for the year. So this went backwards and forwards a couple of times to work out what this was. And if I was doing this based on music alone, it'd be something completely different. But I'm not. My favorite opening of the year is actually the opening to Cells at Work. Because it's musically, it's a very catchy opening. It does get stuck in your head quite a bit. It fits the show really nicely. Visually, what you see fits the music. It has a nice bit where the music goes into a lull, where you're kind of like, okay, the body's functioning normally. Ah, shit, here come the germs, and then it just picks up.
Fuck! Run! Fucking run!
Isn't this a lovely day? Oh god, no, unvaccinated 4-year-old! Ah!
Where's the lamb sauce?
There's literally trillions of us. Millions will die in the conflict. Will any remember our sacrifice? Oh, hey, my blood cell coon.
Yeah, it goes nicely through showing all the cells doing their jobs. It does a thing that I love it when either openings or EDs do this, and it's very rare for an opening to do this, but it's got the characters singing the song rather than somebody else, which is, I always like that touch.
Right up there with fucking Carnival Phantasm. I do agree with you. It's really nice when they do that.
The other thing that it does do is in that one episode where a white blood cell and red blood cell take a back seat, and you focus on Killer T Cell, it takes the second half of the opening that is sung by Killer T and I can never pronounce. Is it macrophage? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah,
biological word. it just does that thing that I like, and that's basically that is the reason I bumped it above all like the other ones I was considering, because it's actually sung by characters, and that bumped it up for me. But overall, I think it's a fantastic opening, and yeah.
I'll also can I quickly say something about fucking Cells at Work I forgot to say earlier.
Yeah.
I like how much it promotes fucking disability. I mean, she can't find her direction. It's a fucking loop, you dumb cunt. Like, fucking...
I like
It's a fucking box.
Look,
Like...
Hugh and Alistair, out of interest, doesn't Bunny Girl do the OP thing? Because I thought it did.
It's
no,
with
it
the
does.
ED.
Yeah, I thought all of the girls sung.
ED.
It's the ED. Okay.
It's the ED.
Speaking of which,
Man,
Speaking
if only it weren't. Oh, Monica! Ah!
It's come for
Anyway.
me too!
Moving on to best ED.
fucking Garbo, absolute garbage.
So Hugh.
I mean, After the Rain was pretty damn good. I mean, Ben talked over me there, but I'm kidding. After the Rain. After the Rain's got a really, really beautiful ED. It is basically an umbrella spinning in the wind during the rain, and then a very, very beautiful song plays, and then slowly zooms out from a very detailed manga drawing of the main character. It's just nice and lovely. It's very simple. It works exceptionally well. The show's a bit weird at times, but the ED is absolutely lovely.
You've
will
already
recommend-
beaten mine.
I will recommend it to anyone. I think it's an absolutely lovely song. I really, really like it, and I really like the visuals because I like how simple and simplistic it is. It doesn't just go over the top and go, whoa, for a minute and a half. It sits down and goes, oh, let's calm for a bit. Let's have a downtime. And I like it. Benny boy.
So I really wanted to pick After the Rain, but I already knew Hugh would be choosing it, and so I'm not going to lie, I chose this in a sort of meta fashion because I knew that Hugh would already be representing better than I could
Thank you.
one of the EDs that I really liked. And the one that I chose was one that despite the show being mediocre, the ED is phenomenal. And that is Be the Beginning.
Fuck. God damn it, that thing's won then.
Why
Why did you give it an award?
Because that is a fucking tune. Not
You
only
should have
is it-
just finished that.
Not only is
Just
it
that's
that,
a fucking
but
tune.
it follows the personality of the main character perfectly, and it like the graphics might be a bit null, like nothingness in the background, but that's what they're supposed to be because you're supposed to be seeing it as this sort of equation floating by with the feelings of the main character thrashing through in this almost
Which
heavy
main
rock-
character?
in this heavy rock song. You know which main character. It's fucking Einstein, bitch.
Yeah.
And then just rocking through as you're seeing the sort of equations and stuff going on. And it just has the contrast between the two. But more than anything, let's just be honest, the song's a fucking tune.
An
Yeah.
absolute banger.
Absolute unit.
Yeah,
Right. Joe.
exactly the same from me. It's the perfect world. Be the beginning. There wasn't a single anime that I pretty cared for the ending for in terms of visual or like symbolic quality. I can only give it pure musical prowess, and I fucking love that song. That I have nothing else to add to that. Like, yeah, it's not been a good year for me for endings.
No,
They
I
never
agree.
are. Lewis.
Oh fuck it! I was gonna say B. I actually abstained. Fucking Garbo here.
You don't get to abstain, you little shit.
He just says be the beginning.
Pick a random one.
Just all right, fine. Fuck it. Be the beginning. Like it's just utter garbage year.
All right, Alistair.
Right. So mine, I narrowed it down to two, and I had to pick one above the other. The thing is, yeah, EDs tend to not be good. Like they tend to be skippable. This one, not only did I never skip, but actually watched, which doesn't normally happen. It has one of my favorite pieces of music in it as well. I've picked the ending to Overlord Season 2. Because, one, visually, the artwork that is just put up in the background as the ending plays is stunning. It's artwork that is representative of the artwork that's on the front of the light novels. It's stylistically really nice fantasy artwork that you would probably see in a Dungeons and Dragons guide or something. Like, it's really good. The song is by Myth and Royd, and I love every single fucking song they make. The thing that made it win for me is I always like it when an ED does something special at some point in the show, just to change the way it, like, to give it an impact. And the way this one does it in one episode, there are a couple of frames in this ending that are always there, but you don't really notice them. And that is the ending that kind of shows that the princess is a yandere. When it's actually revealed in the show that she's a yandere, that moment is the ED's already playing musically, but the ED visually kicks in exactly on that frame where her eyes of evil are staring at you. And it's just that massive, like, that moment of impact of just like, bam, yes, she's that, like, and then you notice that frame from, like, those frames from there on out. I like it when EDs do that, and that's basically the reason I gave that over the other things, because it just did something unique and different. Unlike just playing it and making it a thing that you could just skip.
I like to watch OPs and EDs. That's just me. I like watching them. I think they're
I
interesting.
like watching OPs. I don't. It depends on EDs. Depend.
I like EDs.
I make a habit of watching EDs because usually there's an end credit scene from now on.
I like having a minute and 30 seconds.
The only one I could think of that comes to my mind that I love, actually I think is art is probably Darker Than Blacks, but that's about it.
Well, the Monogatari series has some solid EDs.
Yeah,
it does.
Dragon
really
Maid's
does.
probably my favorite ED.
I mean, if you haven't Dragon Pilot ED, the Dragon Pilot ED's got a really good one. It's got a French song, and they're just all dancing to it.
Lewis, you know an ED that you liked.
I probably know.
Sensei.
I probably know multiple more. Oh yeah, of course, there's the Kekai Sensei endings, which are also fantastic.
God damn it, Lewis!
Oh god, there's
Your
more.
meme entry fell dead.
Oh no, the meme. What was it?
It was the rainbow.
Oh fuck.
What about Shirley?
Right, my favorite ending of 2018 is a show which has got one full anime season. It features Kiritsugu and Kirei, among others, and they're all in a jail cell together. It's actually a really neat fate spin-off. It's called Rainbow. It's called that because all the main characters are fucking gay, and it's a gay pride celebration. You know this because all the characters get fucked in the ass and they like it, or at least a doctor tries to fuck him in the ass.
They all do actually get fucked up the ass.
And it's got a great end, and it's got a fantastic ending where the characters switch between English, and it's generally quite a good theme, and there's very good pencil drawings. And at one point, the singer goes, "A far off distance," and I'll forever love him for that. That's my favorite ending of 2018.
This show came out in 2010. I just only convinced Lewis to watch it in 2018.
And
There
therefore,
we go.
well, I mean, as Alistair said before, if the show started in 2017, we're still okay with doing it, so I don't see any problem.
Rainbow is amazing. You should all watch it. Go watch it. Go watch Rainbow. Do it.
Right.
Watch Rainbow.
Should we
Moving
move
on to the next award, which is best soundtrack. Hugh.
God, am I unqualified for this? I'm the guy that's lowered down into the absolute wonderful food banquet and asked which one of these truffles is the best, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna go Megalobox. The OP's fire. That's literally all I can say about it. The OP's fire. It's really good. I liked all the music. That's it for me. I can't give any more. I don't do music.
You don't want to give any more. Mine is also Megalobox.
Boy!
Because you know what? It's fucking fire.
Yeah, boy!
The entire thing has the perfect bit. That, I was struggling between this and Debru Man. And Debru Man has the emotional bits a lot more down, but Megalobox has a lot more of the actiony woes sort of much more down. But Megalobox will infinitely win because for me, in my head, it feels like the OST is a perfect homage of a techno upbeat version of updating some of the fight scenes, updating some of those soundtrack parts of Cowboy Bebop. And
It's
you
a
have
good OST.
those brilliant chill moments still have the exact same feel as when I watched Cowboy Bebop for the first time, and still have that momentality and that perfect jazzy chill to them. And it brings back the nostalgia, and it brings back that perfect feeling of this is the world we're in, and these people are just like, despite everything, they're just ants in the world we're in. And going through, I got that same feeling from the OST, and I got the feeling from it, and even the fact that some of the more impactful moments didn't have as an impactful OST as, say, Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo or other action series like Devilman. But it still held that feeling, that nostalgia in my heart, and the action scenes felt like it was what would it have been if Cowboy Bebop had a fight scene that was a proper one-on-one. This is a sports fight in this modern setting and this updating thing. The entire thing just was a perfect nostalgia kick for me, and that's why I can't not vote for it in this.
That's fair. No,
Yep.
it's a deeply personal one, though.
It is fire.
Fair enough. For me, it was a toss up between Megalobox and Devilman. I'm giving it personally to Devilman. For kind of things of what you said, I think Devilman has a better range in its soundtrack, as you say, with the emotional stuff. Megalobox is all of its songs that are great for the hype and for what they give to the fights, but Devilman, it's able to go from between the busting out Devilman no Uta and everyone, going crazy over that, to the
Despite
bit.
the fact it's not in the show at all.
It has
Oh, is
two
it?
scenes. Yeah, it shows it twice.
Oh, I didn't think it did. Never mind. My bad.
Yeah. And it's got, from stuff like that to Smells Blood, where things are just going fucking crazy, everything's exploding, people are dying, and then right to the other end of the spectrum when you've got like Miki's theme just when during the scene where obviously she dies and you get the
Spoilers!
Oh, Tiger! I'm discussing this one a bit later on.
Akira Baton.
Sorry, as everyone knows, Lewis can explain everything better because he gets passionate about things. So
Akira Fudo.
Fudo. Yes.
Akira Fudo. Nah,
Oh, it's my old friend Ro. Shit.
But yeah, and I just feel that Megalobox didn't quite give me like the range of everything that it could have.
Fair enough.
I get that, and I can entirely concede that.
I can sympathise.
Mm-hmm.
Louis boy.
Goes to Devilman for me. We're watching the continually evolving career of that guy who did the music for Space Dandy and A Silent Voice. So Devilman Crybaby soundtrack is fucking, I think it's 50 odd tracks of fucking luxury. It's interesting just to hear, obviously, the influences on the early Devilman just taken to a techno height, basically. Now, Devilman does not actually have an ED, weirdly. It actually finishes pretty much directly as the episode ends. But the thing is, it's got the range that will always win. It has got a song for all occasions, and the show is not afraid to swap out its music every other minute to fit the tone, which is why you need such an enormous fucking CD list. And I'll be talking about it a little bit more later on, but it's the fact that every character gets their own theme song. Every fucking fight scene can have their own one. They subvert ones, so for example... there is the Miki track, which is just the regular one she plays when Miki appears, and there's Miki the Witch, which plays when she gets possessed by... I can't remember the name of the fucking demon. When she gets possessed by
or something.
and basically, when she gets possessed by that demon, that's the track that plays, which subverts the entirety of the track. Then you got standard stuff like Judgment, Sabbath One, Nightmare, Smells Blood, which is just head banging fucking fantasticness. Of course, you've got Rio, and there's just lots and lots and lots and lots of themes, and pretty much it goes for the shotgun appeal, but everything just kind of works, and it definitely fits a sort of modern techno scene, like MOON, who did the Hotline Miami soundtrack, and that style of techno is finally coming a bit more into prevalence, which is always nice to see. So it's a bit of a ride, that album, if I'm being honest, because you got the other one, you got Megalobox, which is fine, but like this actually feels like someone composed a fucking album that was like, you know what I mean, right?
I get what you mean completely.
Yes, that's my pick. That'd definitely be Devilman for me. Just look at the name of the guy. Agraf, that's his DJ name.
Looks like I'm going to be tiebreak again.
Oh no.
I love how it's always the tiebreak between the two shows that I kind of watched the first half of and was like, I don't see it. Anyway.
Wait. Well,
Leave it.
Let it go. Let it go.
Black boy.
Right. So my favorite soundtrack is slightly a cop out because it technically kind of steals the soundtrack. But it is one of the best soundtracks of all time, and that is the soundtrack to Persona 5. Like, I took Persona 5 the animation because the soundtrack is fucking baller. I know it's the soundtrack from the game, but it's a fucking awesome soundtrack.
If you knew, then why did you suggest? Never mind.
You're right, it is a cop-out.
Yeah, it is a cop-out, but it is still an awesome soundtrack.
You have copped out.
Yeah, but it still counts.
Indeed. I think the problem is none of us are particularly capable of going, hey, here's why Needy's good, apart from just going, these songs are good, they survive it. Like Lewis is much better at it than we are, and he's shown he's much better at it than we are when it comes down to music. I'm not good with music. I can basically say, I liked this, I thought the music worked well for it, and that's about as much as I can give. And that's my big issue with this.
I like songs with electric guitars, therefore I like this. Therefore I like this opening. That's me, pretty much.
So unless anyone has anything to say, I think we should hand over for the next Joke Award.
Yep.
Which I believe is my Joke Award.
Yep.
I'll let you say this out loud.
My award is a classic. Actually, it's a minor references award. I'm curious if it'll recognize it in the comments. You won't. No one will watch this. It is the Razorblade Filled Vagina Award for fastest reversal of fortune. So the Razorblade Filled Vagina Award is given to something which seemed like it was doing well and then immediately turned badly. Alternatively, you could use it for its secret utility use, which is to describe something that was doing badly and rapidly increased in quality, which I have done. I'm curious to see what everyone has got for this delicious, delicious award. Hugh, what is your Razorblade Filled Vagina?
In episode 12 of Between the Sky and the Sea, otherwise known as space fishing, there is a moment when God, I don't want to say the phrase heroes. Girls
Thoughts.
we've been following.
Thoughts.
You're not recording me, but I'm doing air quotes. Escape from this fishing tank that they've been fishing in, and they burst out from the ice at high speeds, and they go, "Yeah, we escaped." And with complete comic timing, one of them immediately gets eaten by a giant fish that has also jumped out of the pool and then freezes in space. It is not a comedy moment. It is played completely seriously, and I was watching it with me, Lewis, and Joe, and we all laughed our asses off. It was hilarious.
Apparently, he didn't like hearing that you watched it with him.
I was going to say, Joe's left.
There goes Joe. Oh, well, fuck it.
Joe's gone.
Joe has disappeared. All right.
He wasn't exactly going to change our minds on anime, was he? No, fucking kidding.
I'm kidding.
Fucking kidding.
The interesting thing is, what's going to happen to the Craig recording on that?
That'll be
I'm
fine.
curious. That'll be fine.
Literally, it is with complete comic timing, and it just made me laugh so much.
We love you, buddy.
Well, Ben.
My moment for reversal of fortune is several reversals of fortune. It is a fight in Baki versus a escaped criminal called Spec and basically a Yakuza mob boss called Hanayama. During which essentially so Spec beats the shit out of Hanayama and it's phased as, oh shit, he's gonna win. Then Hanayama's like, nah, bitch, and starts kicking the shit out of him. And then it phrases it as, Hanayama's gonna win. And then out of nowhere, Spec blows up Hanayama's mouth. And it's like, well, he's dead. But then he's not dead,
I'm
and
not.
then he pummels Hanayama into a light and electrocutes him.
Not everything has to be about to you, Joe.
Yep. At which point the electrocuted body is dragged off to the police, and it's like, oh, it's all done, the fight's over. Then it cuts to all the police officers dead, as Spec has killed them all and has come back out and flips Hanayama's car over. At which point he climbs out of the car, begins beating up Spec again. At which point Spec shoots both his kneecaps out. And it's like, and the officer that's telling the story poses it as, oh, he's dead at this point. But then he shoots it through the hole in his jaw that was blown up earlier. He shoots it through the jaw that was blown up earlier, and Hanayama then pummels the guy into the ground, at which point he accepts defeat and turns into a withered old man because he was over 90 years old and only kept going to be defeated. At which point we have gone through about 8 cycles of the show going, nah, he won. But wait! Oh, but he won. But wait! Continuously in a row in this one fight that has happened.
Oh, God. Joey boy.
Right. I'm also giving this to space fishing. But
I thought you were also giving it to Hanayama and Spec fight. At which point I was going to turn around and go, what?
Everyone's favorite Jewish fighter, Spick.
No, and this is just purely like Hugh himself brought this about for the show because he himself was able to triple its entire viewing count. Like,
I quadruple, mate.
For the final
I more than quadrupled it. I went from just me watching it to you lot.
That's what I mean. You managed to bring both myself and Lewis for the final episode, giving them a 300% increase of viewers, and I think they really need to be thankful for that because without you, this never could happen. The show would not have been such a great success.
We've spoken about this show more than anyone else. I'm championing this show and I hate it.
Yeah.
I know.
Joe, is it the same moment?
No, it's he means
The full final episode, the show
it.
itself had a reversal of fortune. Its fortunes were literally reversed because so many more people watched it, and we should be thankful for that.
Okay.
Louis boy.
Lewis.
My fastest reversal of fortune this year started last year, but definitely happened, and it's mainly thanks to Netflix we have to thank for it. My fastest reversal of fortune is everyone's motherfucking attitudes to a dubbed anime and how this shit is suddenly fine.
Hey.
So thanks to motherfuckers such as that asshole who voices Dracula and the fucking dwarf fucking boy who fucking voices, Trevor Belmont. Suddenly,
Yes.
Suddenly, fucking dwarf man, yes. Suddenly, it's fine to fucking like dubbed anime, and suddenly everyone's like, okay, we'll watch it. It's on Netflix, and when you look at that, Devilman got a good reception, and Baki's got a good fucking voice acting cast. Now everyone's fucking enjoying it. Where's the suffering? Why can't people accept the struggle that we went? Nah, fuck it, it's great. No, people are actually beginning to accept dubbed anime. It's really nice to see the voice acting industry is actually getting its shit together, like in a big way, not just in a small amount of talented people kind of way. You've also got the fucking people down like Team 4-Star who have now got actual voice acting gigs, and it seems as though the West is finally making a break when it comes to the voice acting industry. I, for one, am grateful about that. Also,
we've got to the point now where dubbed voice actors no longer voice people who are way too young, so we don't get 14-year-olds who sound like they're 30-year-old chain smokers.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a big problem with the dub thing that was because there was never a training in it, and it's a whole point that we'll probably get on into further podcast. But it's there is a whole reasoning behind the whole thing, but it's kind of bullshit and basically the faults of everyone behind it.
Absolutely, Alistair.
So mine is a predictable one that this should turn up at some point, and I've dubbed this, if the people should probably instantly work out what I'm talking about when I say these 3 words: fighter foot grab.
It's when the bitch got raped.
Yeah.
Basically that entire cave scene in the first episode of Goblin Slayer. Everybody's like, oh, it's a nice isekai party. Oh wait, she's being raped by goblins. Yeah.
Also, the fucking sword maiden. Bet she saw that one coming.
Whoa.
Yep.
Moving on.
I don't think I need to say much more on that. It's self-explanatory. I think the image that I'm going to put up will probably explain it all.
Absolutely. Now, shall we move on to the award that everyone's going to get the same thing?
You cut out, mate.
Shall we
yeah.
move on to the award that everyone's going to give to the same thing?
Let's
Oh,
move
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
to...
Yeah,
let's
The
move on
one
to the
earlier
next
when we-
thing.
The one earlier when we were guessing everyone's what everyone would vote for, at which point I turned to Hugh and just went, everyone's going to vote for the same fucking show.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. So moving on to the next category of awards, which I didn't really know how to give it an overarching name because they're kind of different. Other awards. So the award for best visuals.
All who voted for Violet Evergarden say aye.
Aye.
I did.
Alistair, would you like to
Alistair, why are you being contrarian?
I'm being contrarian because I had a loophole where I could pick.
Well,
Because I
he
knew
blinded
Violet Evergarden
himself.
was going to come up, but I decided to bring in Fate Extra last encore because I could.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. So Violet Evergarden wins that one, 4-1. Thank you very much.
That is actually everyone except Alistair could vote for Violet Evergarden.
Literally, and Alistair can't vote for his own show. Ladies, a complete wipe for Violet Evergarden. God, I love loopholes.
Good. Right. Do we want to say anything
That's
about that?
unless we all vote for Alistair, so let
That's
him
a good
talk.
point. That is a good point.
I
won't
enjoy
be.
my Fate Plus Encore. It doesn't win it for me.
I like Violet Encore. It looks really, really good. Violet Evergarden looks better. It's also got
Violet
better.
Evergarden has shot composition, and it does establishing shots to let you know where you are in relation to everywhere else. That
Absolutely.
alone would warrant it this award. It also looks like filth in my eyeballs.
It has
Filth
the
in my
it has the
eyeballs.
best looking anime water I've ever seen, and that includes 3. It looks absolutely gorgeous. All the characters are fantastic. All the world is fantastic. All the items are fantastic. The animation is beautiful, especially when they do slow-mo shots. It's just great.
The varying landscapes as well. The fact that, it's just the fact that it lends itself nicely to the fact that she travels so much as we get to see so many different areas. They all look stellar.
Absolutely. It's just one of those shows where you just look at it and go, yeah, that. Dear. Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on.
Sorry, wait, whoa. What was Alistair's again, so I can type it in?
Fate Last Encore.
Doesn't matter.
Wow.
Perfection. Alistair.
To be honest, I kind of agree with everything. To be honest, Violet Evergarden is the best looking show of this year. However, I just felt like sticking something else in there because I knew that was going to get nominated anyway.
Nah,
So I
it
was
would
just
have been funnier if
I
all
was
5
going to
of us
stick
picked it.
something else in there that also deserves
That's
recognition.
alright, boy. We're just memeing. We're just memeing.
We are memeing, mate.
Anyway, next award is award for best moment.
Why do I have to turn into the Gen Zeder now?
Yes.
Dear,
Yes.
I'm going to turn into the Gen Zeder.
Please
Go on,
Okay.
Hugh.
don't.
I don't want to. Literally, this is the one award that I didn't want to give to the thing that I gave it to, and it's weird. Right, for me, the best moment is the moment of the year that I feel defines it, / had the most hype around it, / was the best moment. Now, I will say this right now. My number 2 is Castlevania, when Dracula realizes what he's doing and he starts shouting about my boy, you are. Yeah,
Let
anyway.
me get to it, bitch.
Anyway, that one. That's my number 2. My number 1 is the Gen Z, which is United States of Smash from My Hero Academia.
It's a
Someone
great
had
moment.
to pick it.
It is a really, really good moment. It is the culmination of All Might's character throughout the course of the first, second, and third season. He goes from being a mentor to a trainer to being a man who is sacrificing literally everything that makes him special into protecting not only the person who is to precede him and succeed him, but also everyone else around him, and to give one last moment for people to rally behind. It is also animated wonderfully, it is built up fantastically, and it is just a very, very good scene, and I feel that, yes, it's very, very kind of mainstream of me to say this, but I feel that is the moment most people are going to think of when they think of 2018 in anime, and I feel it's the moment that kind of defines the year.
Yeah, I'd agree that I think it is the moment that most people will think of because it's such a it's a really good moment, and it's such a oh, we'll get to this at the end. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. No. Go ahead.
No. We'll hit the end in the discussion bit because I imagine other people have things to say about it as well. So
I mean, you can say it now. I don't mind.
no.
We're waiting. Move on.
We'll hit it at the end.
Fair enough. Tell me about Castlevania, Ben.
Yeah. So my favorite moment is the Castlevania "My Boy" moment.
My boy.
Is
Oh, boy.
where Alucard the villain punches his son through a wall after a incredible and really well choreographed fight between the two of them. He goes flying through, and Alucard walks into the room, it purposefully shows off the fact that his claws scratch the side of the wall as it scrapes down because he's in such a beastly mode. His cape is wailing in the background behind him, and the entire sky and setting behind him is blood red due to the way that his eyes have turned as well and the pure rage that he holds in his mind. And he looks forward and sees his son punched against a bed in front of him and realizes what's going on. And the first thing to drop is the background, as the sky stops turning from a blood red, it turns into a regular sky, and the stars are once again revealed through the mirror that was placed so that their son could see to the stars before. Alucard looks up, and you can see his eyes quivering as much as Dracula's is, as he notices this fact that's going on as well. And Dracula utters the first line of "It's your room," and his eyes begin fading from the red as he realizes what he is doing, and continues with the fantastic line and the the reason the thing I would show to anyone that ever said dubs are bad, the moment that, as Lewis said before, has defined dubs being acceptable, and just a absolutely amazing, breathtaking voice acting moment of the English voice actor for Dracula just saying, "My boy," looks out at the sky as Alucard does, his eyes drain from the blood within them, turning to normal. "I'm killing my boy." And looks around the room, goes through all the things, goes through the discussion with his dead wife of how they painted the room, they made the toys in the room, everything that's going on, stumbling around the room, looking at what's happening, having basically won the fight. Like, it was obvious he'd won the fight, and the fact that the start of it is his cape drooping from the ominous position into a regular one of calm, of the way that the room is so telling, and the background dropping first, and it's just so shot perfectly, and the voice acting, the quivering in the voices, everything that happens as he walks around, sees this, and looks at a picture of his dead wife, and it finishes with just him saying, "I'm killing my boy, Lisa, I'm killing my boy, the greatest gift you ever gave to me, and I'm killing it. I must already be dead." At which point he looks with quivering eyes, offers no resistance, as his son walks towards him and stakes him straight through the heart. And before it drills through fully, he just utters "son," and Alucard utters in a stuttering, sad voice "father," before once again realizing what he's got to do and stabs it through fully, killing his dad in front of him, in one of the most powerful scenes, not only of anime, but of any medium ever that I've seen. That scene is a masterpiece. And that is quite possibly not only one of the most powerful moments of 2018, but one of the most powerful moments of my life in any form of medium, because that is just... There aren't words to describe that scene. The voice acting, the composition, the way it's shot, the way it's acted out, the slow movements, the alteration between the fight that just happened, the the way that the scenery alters before Dracula, and so you can tell what's happening, and the way that everyone feels the regret and the heaviness before it, except Trevor, who feels no feeling towards it because he doesn't know anything other than he has to hunt the monster, and he sees Dracula reaching out for Alucard in his decaying state. As I think most people would say, he was reaching out more for his son than anything at that point, and Trevor cuts his head off straight away because it looked like Dracula was going to kill him because that's all he knew, just monsters, and the contrast from that and everything that happened before, just it's brilliant in every way, shape, or form. The composition, the acting, everything is a masterclass. And I would show that scene to anyone that said, I want to see a good scene. Whether they cared about anime, whether they didn't, whether they wanted to know what dubs were, whatever, I would show them that scene. And it's just a masterpiece. And there's no other words for it. And I feel quite heavily about this because it's just brilliant. It's just a brilliant scene that I wasn't expecting at that point, especially when watching it amidst a incredibly high, tense, brilliant fight scene. To just have that come out from the end, and it feels so natural flowing into it. It's a masterclass in writing, a masterclass in voice acting, a masterclass in choreography, and I can pick no faults in it as an entire whole, and I can't. It's just brilliant.
It is an excellent scene. It is an absolutely excellent scene.
Joe.
Mine's going to seem really childish now next to that. So Ben's picked the most emotionally powerful moment in Castlevania. I picked just the most enjoyable moment for me in terms of my favourite fight scene in all of it, which is just the entrance of Dracula's castle, where you're in the you got Carmela's vampires in full coup mode going after the remaining loyal vampires of Dracula, and Siva, Trevor, and Alucard just walk in. Everyone turns, and you get the oh fuck, and then there's these assholes. Look from the rest of the vampires, and you break into probably the best fight scene outside that involves multiple people. Because I will admit, with what Ben said, the choreography of the Dracula fight itself is phenomenal. But for the group fight, it just works so well for me because it's that everyone gets to show off what they do really well. The music is absolutely great, considering it's this is mostly nostalgia value for me, coming the fact that it's Bloody Tears, and what the most iconic piece of music from the Castlevania series for me. It fits it in wonderfully. We get to just see our main characters open up a can of whoop ass against what they've been building up to for quite some time, and yeah, and it's just and you know this isn't even the pinnacle of it because they've still got to get to Dracula. You get that feeling there's always more to come, and which then will lead into, as we've already established, the moment from Ben. So yeah, that's what it is for me. It's the building of the hype, and it was pure, unadulterated enjoyment for me for that entire sequence.
It's my favourite.
Very childish compared to Ben's, but
Yeah.
You can
No,
just tell.
That's still an amazing scene. I adore that scene.
You can just tell how good Castlevania is, and it's taken two of our places in two different scenes.
It's done pretty well.
Lewis.
Lewis, indeed. In the running was definitely the my boy scene. I've talked to Ben about this before, actually. And basically, my boy is good, is fucking strong, infinite rip-off Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. There's a reference.
Yeah, it also ripped off that awful Legend of Zelda CD game.
God damn it, Lewis. Fucking hell.
What a reference.
The original.
Hey, listen, that guy crying over the fucking vampire boy at the end of fucking Goblet of Fire is the best acting in all of fucking Harry Potter. Fight me. My boy. No, it took a rewatch for me to decide this one. It's not. It's from Devilman. And it's the reason this scene takes it is the reason that Devilman takes it. Spoiler alert for my favorite show. Because basically, like it. now, this may come as a surprise to some of you boys, but I like suffering. I know, and I like suffering done well is the thing. And Castlevania does an excellent job of it because Dracula Tepesh is with his wife for 20 years after, living for millennia or whatever. And then it gets taken away from him and he gets something important taken away from him, right? And, you'd suffer. Ben, you'd suffer from that, wouldn't you? You'd suffer. And the direct consequence of that is that suffering is blatant anger, and he only truly suffers and he realizes what he's lost when he sees his boy. And that's all well and good. The bit which takes it for me for Devilman is not even when Miki dies, but it is 10 seconds of absolute beauty for when, after Akira realizes he's killed them, he fucking wipes out all the humans in a fucking fireball or whatever. From Here to Eternity plays on the Devilman OST, and it shows an understanding with no words for the true meaning of tearing your heart out. It shows Akira and Miki on a motorcycle with the fucking frame panning up, and it just shows them riding a fucking motorcycle, right? That's it, as the music plays. It's a very good track, it's a very emotional moment, but for me it shows the thing which Perfect Blue and so many others showed, which is that, he had Miki for a few years, yeah, whatever. What really tore the heart out of that scene is the fact that what he dreamed of, and I like to think that was his dreaming there, is what could have been and never will be. And that is the true emotional heartache. That's the one that takes time to set up. That's the insidious kind, because whereas you've got Dracula who has the 20 years of his wife that he can think about, Akira Fudo will never have his future with Miki. That's been taken away from him forever. And that is truly powerful. That is how you make someone feel. And it has to be the slow boil. You couldn't have done it any other way. And just to tear the heart out so efficiently, I could not give it anything else.
I like that we're all just sitting here just thinking, going, yeah, these are good moments. These are good moments.
It's the true transcendence of suffering. Not killing something because of what will be lost, but killing something because you can't help but think about what could have been. That's the true suffering, because your brain will do it for you. And for me, I think Akira Fudo will never be more miserable than in that instant when he thinks about what his life with Miki could have been.
Absolutely. Alistair.
I'm going to bring it back full circle because I've also put the United States of Smash as mine. Because, as you said, it is probably one of the moments that's going to be remembered the most this year. I think
that's funny. I don't remember
it. And not only just because of the build-up and the whole show has been leading up to this thing, this moment ends, I would say, Act 1 of My Hero Academia. I think this moment is more powerful in the sense of the aftermath of this moment. Because this moment I would describe as the death of Superman done properly. Because Superman in this world, as in All Might, has not died. He has lost his powers, so he's now got to live with the fact that he has to sit there helpless, not being able to do anything when the world crumbles because he's no longer there. And it's just a really, great moment of the way at the end of that fight when he just looks into the camera and he says, "You're next," and everybody thinks that's for the other villains out there, but no, it's literally pointed at Deku as it's your turn now to take over. And it's just such a powerful moment. And following on from that, when they have the conversation with All For One, and he says, "You should have died there. That was your moment to die, and you didn't do it, and that was your mistake." And maybe All Might should have died then, because now then he wouldn't have had to sit through the rest of this and now suffer the fact that he cannot help anybody, which is all he wanted to do his entire life, was become the symbol of peace and save people, and he can't do it anymore. And it is insanely powerful, and it's basically the defining and turning point of My Hero Academia.
There's a reason it was chapter 100 in the manga.
Did you also say fucking Act 1? Are you telling me that this shit's not even past its midpoint yet?
Oh god, no.
Oh,
Nope.
fucking hell.
This is the next big shonen.
Well,
Yeah.
Like this is gonna go for a while.
Man,
Yeah.
I can't wait for there to be tension in that main fucking shit. Oh wait, no, Deku will win because it's a fucking.
I thought you were about to say I can't wait not to watch it.
No, I also can't wait for that. I'm actually anticipating it. No, it's a shame that fucking Deku episode 1 says, by the way, the Cyber became the greatest hero. Well, there goes all tension. You're not going to die. Woohoo!
Boop, boop, boop,
Powerful.
boop, boop. There we
Then
go.
United States.
he'll die.
Yes!
He'll die.
It's
He'll die.
shonen, Lewis. They're not meant to die.
He'll die. They'll just pull the same as every shonen and have the magical bring them back to life somehow thing.
I have the quirk
Yeah,
to
the
bring
magical
people back from the
revival.
dead. What?
Yeah.
Revive quirk has not been discovered yet.
Oh god, it will have been. Let's be honest.
I think everybody's covered their moments like poignantly and amazingly. To be honest.
And now to vote on the best.
no.
Uh,
Jojo.
Next, we move on to our final joke award, and that is Joe's.
By process of elimination, you can tell whose it is.
Is it Harvey's?
Yeah. It's Harvey
It's
Dent.
Craig's.
Woof.
Is it based?
It's a turkey, and it's got fucked. No, my award is the Gay Ball Car Award for the quickest train wreck of a show. So just it could have had any kind of interest or whatsoever, and just event after event after event. This was a shit show, and you saw it collapse into itself.
Right,
So-
Hugh.
Hugh, what you got for me?
Food Wars Season 4. Food Wars Season 1 and 2 are really, really... Food Wars Season 3 is meh. Food Wars Season 3 really, really annoys me because Season 4 is terrible. It's not a good adaptation. It's still a good story. It's a terrible adaptation. I saw one of my favourite shows crash and burn in front of me. It upset me greatly. Ben.
Well, that was very poignant.
There's not much else to say. I've already gone over it. I feel quite
Yeah.
strongly about the fact that it is one of my favourite shows that crashed and burned in front of me. I can't really say much else.
I'm just
Right.
annoyed that that's the fourth show that you've done the same as me.
You want my coverage for fastest show to crash and burn this season?
Yep.
Not really.
It's all right. Go.
Kidding.
No, go on, Ben.
It's SAO because that crashed and burned many years ago, long before the season even began. SAO had already crashed and burned.
It's a resurrection, like a dead cat finally coming back to life with all of the wounds intact.
Osmond's not here.
Now,
Is that it, Ben?
That joke.
can we
Oh,
not make
yeah.
jokes that no one gets?
Yes.
I've already
Is
told
that-
Lewis off for this.
Okay, I'm gonna say that's it. Okay, Joe.
As I just said, mine's Shokugeki as well. I love that show. It's one of my favorites. I've been reading it for years now. Usually this kind of thing ruins adaptations for me because I've already read it. I know what happens. For me, it's the same reason why I like to do the Attack on Titan to begin with. I really just wanted to see everything come to life, see it in color, see the beautiful action, see the beautiful food, people, the weird transition scenes. But yeah, the season just. There's so much nothing. There's just nothing to this season, and it just ruined it for me. With the start of season 3, you saw it starting the other time when it was oddly racist for you.
The racist Chinese scene that lost me.
Yeah, and it just every single thing. It could have been so much better. I was looking so much more hype for this, and just we got a literal train scenario, and railroaded, and it was shite.
Amazingly, this show managed to offend me on so many fucking levels.
Oh, right, yeah.
Wait, what do you think I'm going to say?
Well, you said you were going to bring up Neo Yokio again.
Oh, no. I'm afraid that Neo
Oh
Yokio's
my
not here yet.
word! I've just.
Oh no.
Oh
Snipe.
god!
Sniping it fucking in 8 hours before the end of 2018. It is, of course, Lord El Meloy's II Case Files Rail Zeppelin Grace Note, the most diabolical piece of shit episode 0 I have ever seen. Now, I cannot even begin to explain how much I was disgusted by this pile of excrement that I wasted precious pixels on.
I feel sorry because I recommended this to you.
This show fails on multiple levels. Number one, it is just diabolically awful when it comes to its animation. That thing which Fate Zero was well known for. It falls back on the Fate Apocrypha route of using fucking animatronics to fucking make things move, basically. And it doesn't fucking work. It looks terrible. There is a car chase scene later on in this episode, which somehow got even worse with the CG and utterly lost me. Fate's convoluted rules of how magic works get only worse by the fact that apparently merely saying "fuck that guy" is enough to cast a magic spell that will instantly kill you if they have a defense on them. I can't wait for them to forget about that. There is a fucking little fucking girl with grey hair and a fucking hood who's got a mysterious origin story and is super subservient in that fucking style of character which everyone loves. Rei Aoyami's, but without any fucking irony. We got the two fucking trap boys who are the funniest fucking characters because they've got the best comedic timing and the best voice actors. And that's not even talking about fucking the worst character in all this is, of course, Waver him fucking self. A fucking decent mage with an up-and-coming, which Fate bizarrely got obsessed with, despite the fact that Genna Ibuchi clearly intended him to be a fucking side character to fucking Xander. The only thing this thing does right is the fact that it doesn't spit on the fucking grave of either Cainith, who is a treasure, nor does it spit on fucking Xander, who is shown only once and seen riding away. Inevitably, though, this thing is going to shit the bed, because I am not even kidding. This has offended me on episode 0. There has only been one episode of this, and it's not even what they'd consider an episode, which is a fucking miracle, because I would less consider this a fucking episode of anime, more what I consider a stream of diarrhea in my face. And I don't even mind it that much. It's mediocre. What it represents to me, and what the ultimate car crash of a fucking show this is the fact that it just represents Fate's continual decline from being based on a visual novel with one good fucking light novel adaptation that was made afterwards in the form of Fate Zero, aka one of the best anime ever made, and the continual fucking mishandling of this property by people who clearly don't know what they're fucking doing by sticking to the rigid rules of this fucking series that were set out in a visual novel that aren't rigid! They were never rigid, and they just take fucking excuses to fuck about it whenever they fucking want to, which means that this is the ultimate piece of shit. It takes the magic, it takes a loved character from Fate Zero, one of the best anime ever made by my fucking boy himself, Murabuchi-san, and shits on him as well. It takes CGI animation for Fate Apocrypha and goes, duh, I don't know what that is, and fucks up character development. Do you remember character development? That thing which Fate could do well. That thing that it was known for because it was a fucking visual novel. And this thing just takes a great big fucking piss of blood all over into his eye socket and says, oh, I curse you. And then they fucking die. Utter garbage in one episode.
Alistair.
I've come to regret following Lewis throughout this entire bloody award ceremony because he does this so well.
I do like the start of this where you were like, oh yes, I'm last. I wanted to be last. And Lewis was like, oh, I'm second to last. And no words were shared. After about the second one, I heard a genuine mutter under your breath of just, fuck, I wish I wasn't last.
Shame.
Dude, I get to get mine out of the way quickly.
Oh,
Yeah.
also, it's got the single worst exposition I've seen in anything ever. I'm not exaggerating.
Let's just sit for 3 minutes and speak.
10 years. It's been 10 years since the Grail War, isn't that right? Yes, 10 years since I fought in the Grail War. That is nearly verbatim lines.
10 years. It's been 10 years since Lenny was shot by the rabbits.
Alistair.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So my pick, some people might be able to predict this, as this is a show that I've slowly, I don't know why, come to despise slightly, even though I was so enjoying it when it was first coming out. And then it kind of flipped on its head in like one episode, and I was just like, I'm done with this thing. I'm annoyed, and every single time I now see an image of this thing, I want to kill it. Darling in the Franxx. I enjoyed it a lot when it first came out. I enjoyed it a lot up until episode 15, and then, yes, I had my hissy fit with Kokoro, but that is just taste thing. It's actually not bad. It's just me having a hissy fit. But then it comes to the point where it does the whole alien twist, and it does it badly, and it just goes to absolute shit in the space of one episode.
I'm surprised you didn't get annoyed when you got NTR'd.
Well, that's when I originally got annoyed, was because it was NTR'd with fucking Kokoro. But then it just drops completely off the map when they do this whole alien twist that for some reason Trigger has decided is the thing that they're going to put in every single fucking show they do. It's just like, I'm bored now of this. Stop doing it.
Controversial opinion. It was not as bad as everyone says it was. It was fine. It wasn't as good as the beginning, but it was fine.
The fact is, it went from something that was actually decent and had promise and went to something that was fine is still a train wreck, in my opinion.
The phrase, I want to kill it, makes it sound like it wasn't just fine, it was worse than... If you want to kill things that are...
I want to kill it. I want to kill it because of the fucking Kokoro thing. But that's something completely different.
It's the NTR. Cool.
Yeah, I hate NTR, if you haven't noticed.
Oh, we noticed, buddy.
Alistair fucking loves NTR. Just going in.
It's the reason why he's watched
just
all
walk,
of them.
just walk in and just be like, "Oh, bitch, I wanna bang."
Oh, what you mean, Cross-Ange?
No, that's
that's one.
That's not the one that I meant. I meant fucking Emergency Anime, which you're currently kickstarting.
No, I'm not. What?
Alistair's the top one at $500. At which point you get to be emergenced in front of you. Just like, oh shit!
No,
now I
please
get to
don't remind me of that
watch this. You get to nominate someone to be emergenced. And you're just there like, oh boy, Nandayo, kya.
You're on the short list.
God, he's been doing it for the last 3 days and
right. Moving on from this train wreck.
Yes, this is a train wreck.
So we're moving on. We're now approaching the end of our awards. Before we go on to our anime of the year, we've got our one last award, which is our fan award, which is kind of like the special recognition award for the show that we would like to give special recognition to that we haven't been able to yet. So Hugh, what is yours?
No one's mentioned it. A Place Further Than the Universe.
Actually, that does surprise me that nobody's mentioned
No one
that.
has mentioned it yet. It's a fantastic show that in the first ever Nottaku podcast that I wasn't even on, I believe it was Ben gave a heartfelt speech backed up by Lewis about how you should go out and do stuff. And the show was absolutely fantastic about that, and it showed off the idea that these 4 girls can go and do something that is new, that is different, and can do something with their lives that just by the sheer state of going, I'm going to do something with my life. Because sometimes all you need is a will and some kind of self-push to keep going with it. Because if things get tough, you need to keep on going. The Place Further in the Universe does that pretty much every single episode. They come up with something which is a problem for them, and they keep pushing. Even when they think it is too hard, they still keep on pushing. I love it. The fact that it hasn't got an award from me tonight was a travesty when I looked through. I wanted to give it Best Protagonist, because I wanted to give all 4 girls Best Protagonist. But I couldn't do that. I had to do one. It's a thing, but there we go. It's my fan award. I love it. It's one of the best shows this year. It comes second for like 5 or 6 of my awards, but there we go. Place Further Than the Universe.
Ben.
So my original award was for Skeleton bookseller Honda-san, sorry. Because it's a really funny, interesting show that you should all watch. However, over the course of this and actually thinking about it while we've been doing all this, and also looking at the Crunchyroll awards and stuff, they've appreciated a lot of Netflix shit, and I feel a lot of people are going to watch these and think and look through, and it's going to be like, oh, Violet Evergarden's on there, that's Netflix, and Agretsuko is on there, and that's Netflix. But they've not appreciated the likes of Castlevania, and I feel like that's not in certain bits because of the fact that it has American writers.
It's a Westaboo.
And it has a lot of Western stuff in it. And so I would like to abandon my initial point in the favor of putting that down of Castlevania as mine, due to the fact that I think it's complete bullshit. The fact that because a American comic writer is the one going behind the most of this, and because of the fact that there are so many other comic writers, there are American actors and the things that are pushing this towards it, that it doesn't get involved in the awards in some way, despite the fact that it has much more impact and much more moments that I've even seen in the Crunchyroll forums being mentioned as much more higher impact than that. They've still not been called out in these places in particular, where other ones have. And it's the same with every network, and everything seems to be ignoring Castlevania. I've not seen a single anime opening compilation that involves any form of Castlevania. I've not seen any OST compilation that involves Castlevania. I've not seen any character thing that has any mention of Alucard or Trevor or Cypher or Alucard or Dracula or anything that goes on. And it just feels like people are pushing it out because it's mainly done through Western authors. Yet it is distinctly an anime. And this infuriates me to the utmost entirely, and I think people should fuck off, should get off their high horse, should stop shoving dildos up their arse, and should decide, oh no, I don't have to shove this dildo up my arse because it was made in Japan and voice acted by all my perfect Senryos, which I couldn't pick out of a lineup because I don't actually know what they sound like. I just know Meow Ni-chan. And instead look at something, go, this is a great piece of work, this is done in this art style, and instead of going, I'll reject this, and everyone saying, I won't put this in at this style because it was made by a Western audience, that's not the way the animes come. That's not the progressive way it's hit this far. It's not gone. It's not progressed so far, it's not hit that far a medium for people to turn around and go, no, if anyone in the West wants to make an anime, you can't because you're not from Japan. That is the epitome of racism or anything like that. That is bullshit. The fact that you can't say someone can make something like that because of that, and that is what I keep seeing with Castlevania. And as much as I wanted to push a fun-loving show as to that, the more I see things, the more that things have gone on throughout the weeks before setting up this podcast, I felt more of a need to push this as the agenda to it, because I find more and more this is just a ridiculous point that people keep pushing further and further against for no reason, and all it is doing is hurting people and their careers. And I'm sorry for getting heavy in my point there, but it's just something that I've seen quite heavily recently, and it just seems, quite frankly, bullshit.
I think you do make a valid point with that, and I'm just gonna, and even though this has nothing to do with that, I think there's something to add on to this, because it does make sense. Is it also works the other way? Is all of this time in the Western awards for Western like shows and movies and stuff, the fact that whenever something animated comes up as a category, the fact that anime gets swept aside, even though the anime movies or shows tend to be better than the shows that get nominated or movies that get nominated but don't even get a second thought in animated medium stuff, is horrible.
Anime, cartoons, and everything else is a fucking style. If you think that's limited to a country, you're racist. TLDR.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a very valid point.
Sorry for making this more heavy than it needed to be, but it was just something that...
I mean, that's what the fan award is for, Ben. You're allowed to do that.
Did.
Whoa!
Well, I kind of grasped the wrong end of the stick of the fan award then, because I'm giving mine to Goblin Slayer because I just thought it was just a really good show, but it didn't have anything that I could really give it an award for, because I didn't think it was the best in anything it did, but I thought it was pretty, like, it was like 8 out of 10s for everything it did do. So yeah, I don't know if I got the wrong end of this.
No, you
that's
didn't,
perfectly
you
fine as well.
as I said, Joe. Sorry. Don't feel down on your thing. Mine was I was originally, as I said, going to give it to Skeleton Bookseller seller Tadasan, sorry, and it was just like over the past few weeks there was just a change, and it was just like, fuck, I need to say this sort of thing because this feels like bullshit that this isn't coming up. So ignore me, take me as the self-righteous sacrifice, burn me at the stake, and continue with your regular this is a show that you should watch but you didn't appreciate before, because that's the way this award should be, and not the way I went, oh Lord, sacrifice me, burn me, whoa.
Right. So Joe, you can continue.
I mean, like as I said, that's there's not much else to go on. Like as I said, Goblin Slayer was an absolutely great show for the year for me. I just felt it just didn't quite do anything enough to warrant me giving it an award, which is why like it didn't show up on any of my stuff. But it was by no means a bad show. It was one of the best of the year. It was like that's just for a cumulative thing. I just couldn't.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Lewis.
Mine is two-phase. Bafflingly, I can agree with Ben, and I also not going to make it super fucking serious. No, I'm fucking kidding. Right, so very simple. Ben, you're completely fucking right. It's a fucking art style. You don't patent that to a fucking country. Yeah, seems reasonable, right? So this is important to me because, you know, like, you guys have played some of my content, I assume. And as you well know, I like to make content which could be described as maybe a bit out there, a bit risque. Certainly no one else fucking makes shit like I do. I know that. Maybe other people do. And I mean that in terms of genre, not in terms of quality. It's all dog shit. And you know what? Even I've entertained ideas that one day it'd be pretty nice to be involved in an anime in some way. I think that's a dream that we've all had at some point, or at least a daydream that we've all had. Do we all agree with that?
Oh, is this where it's coming in?
So consequently, my fan award goes to Neo Yokio, which thankfully got in on its OST because Neo Yokio has taught me two staggeringly important questions which give me morale. Not only does Neo Yokio prove to me that anyone can make an anime, it's proven to me anyone can make an anime out of anything.
It doesn't have to be good.
It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't even have to have anything that makes sense. You can still make an anime. And for that, that's the ultimate morale boost as a guy without their ideas with a slim chance in fuck of ever making it. But you know what? If Jaden Smith can do it, maybe I can too.
Yeah.
Now that's a good fucking solid pick.
That is a solid pick. And Alistair.
Make sure to vote for it.
There's no votes on this category.
I fucking know, Jesus Christ.
And Alistair.
The thing is, we've kind of all gone a
Not
very
gonna lie, Ben, your
way with
heartfelt
this.
speech was good. It wasn't as good as Joe's.
You're right. It wasn't as good as Neo Yokio the
Yo.
Mammary.
So, I originally wasn't going to do this. I was going to do something completely different. But over the past 3 weeks, this show has actually surprised me in its quality of how it's improved after its few years of not very good quality. And I'm going to give my fan award to Ruby Volume 6 because it is by far the best volume since Volume 3, since we sadly lost Montio.
Rest in peace, buddy.
And
He
obviously,
can't hear you now, Hugh. You should have said that before he died.
and obviously the show took a massive hit because they lost their main story
Into a brick wall.
direction and
became Garbo, as we call it. Yes.
and Volume 6, I'm happy to say it's still not,
There.
at the
Good.
level of Volume 2.
Thank you.
This comes with
It's a huge step in the right direction, and I wanted to give them recognition for the fact that they've actually, and the amount of improvement they've put in. It has
Rooster Teeth, come away from the cliff.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rooster Teeth, take one step in the right direction, walk onto a landmine, and blow this fucking property to hell.
Fast, on.
Yeah, it has one. It has probably one of my favorite fight scenes in it. It has one since Volume 2, probably. Also, finally, and this is the main reason I decided to put this in, Ruby has finally gotten actually some really good character development, and it's been 6 years! We've waited 6 years for Ruby to get character development, and she's finally fucking got it. This volume seems to be all about Ruby, and it's done the show a world of good. And I'm looking forward to the rest of this volume and what they're going to do next year and the year after that. Hopefully they don't take a back step because they're making Genlock now, but it's good, and I just wanted to give it a recognition of the fact that they have actually managed to improve it, and I don't think you can really blame them in the quality drop, considering the guy with the story in his fucking head died.
Yes, you can.
I can appreciate the improvement. I still can't forgive them for stealing the plot of Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. I'll just leave that at that.
They should have just stopped. That would have been sensible.
Yeah, but then everybody would have there would have been a lot of upset people.
Why
Ruby-
haven't you continued with my
John,
show?
Ruby
despite
is
the
the
fact
most
person
popular
made it
Do you-
dead?
Do you want to know who would have been more upset to see what the show's like now?
Monty.
Monty fucking Oom.
Oh dear. Anyway. There we
Anyway,
go.
that was our fan award. Now moving on to the important one, which we've left to the end because it is the big one, which is your favorite anime of the year. Hugh, start us off.
I get the build first place. My anime of the year. I'm not even going to explain why, because I think it's been spoken about enough tonight for us to know why I'm nominating this. My show of the year goes to Devilman Crybaby.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Ben.
My anime of the year hasn't been talked about enough this session, funnily enough, because it's barely been talked about at all, and that's because it's a place further than the universe. Fuck you, Hugh.
My boy, I managed to.
Benny boy.
Ben, your thunder. It's mine now.
It's the same energy. We've talked about the place for the universe on many other podcasts.
It's
If anyone's watched the original podcast, which I doubt you have, because
don't. I'm not on it.
exactly. Then you already know my opinions on the series. But a place further than the universe is a fantastic series about a group of girls desperately seeking for something more than their regular lives. Something that one of them already wants to search for a reason that is because their parents gone missing. The rest of them attach along because they see that longing, that lust, that dream for something that is more than anyone else seems to have, and it's infectious. The fact that someone has this sort of feeling, this dream, and it goes along, and they grab so many people with different opinions along the way, like the star that has no friends. They just want to make friends, and they're so happy to go along with the trip to the Antarctic because they're doing it with people they care about. And you really get to see the true journey alongside all these girls the entire way, and the way they develop, the way they grow, and the way that it all turns out in the end. And it's just heartwarming and inspiring the way that everything goes. That there's less words to describe it now than I had originally when I'd watched it for the first time, because it's a show that is just fantastic. It's about the people in it, and it's about the journey they experience along with it, and it's about doing something that they thought was impossible, but they desperately wanted to do, and they went ahead and did it despite all odds, despite all people telling them how much they'd fail, and how much they came together in the end, despite how much heartbreak they faced, despite how much it didn't turn out the way they wanted, they still stood strong and faced what was ahead of them. And it's a beautiful series that really inspires you and pushes you to do something like this. And even if it doesn't, you can see the joy, the experience from everyone in it, and it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece of an anime, and if you, I can't do it justice with words because it's just brilliant, and it's something that you really have to experience to enjoy properly. And so I would really urge anyone that has ever had the urge of to visit somewhere they've not gone before, anyone that hasn't dealt with issues with friends, someone that wants to experience something with friends, someone that wants to go somewhere, someone that wants to feel something, that wants to break the norm they're desperately stuck in. Just watch the show, and if it resonates with you, do it. Do something, as me and Lewis said in our initial video. And if you want more details, watch our original podcast, the first ever. It's not a plug, just if you want, skip to the point of the place further than the fuck me, a place further than the universe, and just go to it and listen to what we have to say to that point, because that says more here than I can now. But
I think you summed it up.
Word can't properly express how much this show touched me and how much this is a masterpiece of anime. And I wish I could properly explain it, and I'm sorry that I can't.
You've done a great job, buddy. Don't try and push yourself any more than you feel you need to, just because you think you haven't done it justice. You've done it justice. But happily smile. I know you've done it. You're fine.
Thank you, Hugh.
Just watch the show.
Don't worry about it. You have sold everyone listening. Don't you worry about that.
To what?
Joey boy.
Mine's Devilman. Now on to the next articulate person.
Yeah, Lewis.
Lewis.
Yes.
It's you.
Is it me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Where did you turn off, buddy?
No, sorry. No, I was fucking. If I'm being honest, I think I nodded off.
It is late. I will.
Yeah. No, apologies. Well, it's Devilman. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Did your show influence Evangelion and Berserk and generally cause the rise of the fucking Far Eastern method of dark storytelling? No. Well, then Devilman takes it.
And
Yeah,
Alistair.
I think Devilman's come up a lot. Mine. Yeah. Mine is. I struggled. I went backwards and forwards on mine. But I kind of after last season sunk in a bit, and I had time to let the whole year and look back in the whole year in perspective. The show that I think, and this is probably a very personal reason that this is my favorite show of the year. My favorite show of the year was Cells at Work, because one, it was very unique as far as anime goes. I know the human body thing is done before in other forms of medium and all that sort of stuff. However, I don't think it's really been done in anime before. I also think this is probably one of the best versions of that that's ever been done. It was very interesting. Every single episode was not only fun to watch, it was also educational, and I like that in shows. I like it when it actually also does something and teaches you. It did something else which surprised me greatly, and for some reason this put a lot of people off the show. I can kind of understand why that is, but then you also got to remember this is a show. However, it made me feel sorry for cancer, which is a weird concept.
Yes.
But cancer is the most evil, disgusting disease in existence because it kills so many people all the time. Even people in my family have died from cancer, and it's horrible. But at the same time, the show made me feel sorry for cancer. which is impressive in its own right. And it's just a lot of it was great. It was great from start to finish. I enjoyed it immensely, and I will remember it. And it'll probably be a show that I will rewatch in the future, which means a lot as well for me when I pick my favorite show. It has to be rewatchable. Like I need to be able to it has to be something that I would be happy to rewatch again or would want to rewatch again, and I would want to do that with Cells at Work. I'm also going to post a picture that I will put this up on the thing of this is the reason why I like these kind of shows more than I probably should. This is a book I had when I was a child, probably about the age of 2, and I basically looked at this book constantly. And it was basically a book that I had which was all about the human body and with tiny little people working inside the human body. And it was kind of like that. I grew up with that, and I enjoyed things like that. I also had, I read what was it called? The Magic School Bus, which was also one of the things that took you inside the human body.
Are you basically saying don't watch the anime if you haven't read the manga?
No, I am not saying that. But it's just I'm just explaining why I like this touched me more than it would probably do other people because I've grown up.
Show
with
us on the doll, Alistair. Where did it touch you? Show us on the doll.
Oh, for fuck's sake! But yeah, no, I think it's great, and it's just the fact that it's just a wonderful piece of medium that is also very educational and teaches you while having fun, which is a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. So we've gone through all our nominations. So what we're going to do, we're going to now cut the video and go away and vote on the best show, for, the winner for each category, and then we'll come back and then we'll reveal for each category, apart from the fan award, obviously, because that's a very unique and personal thing that won't get a vote. But all the others will get a vote, and we'll reveal the winner for each category. Some are probably at this point quite obvious which are going to win. Some maybe not. So yeah, we'll be back in after we've counted the votes.
And welcome back to the Nottaku Awards. We didn't pick Devilman enough.
Okay, so we're back. We've gone away and voted.
It's not my fault you started.
We've gone away and voted, and yeah, we've got the results ready for you. Some of them will be obvious. Some of them might be a surprise. So let's go with best action show.
Here it comes, boys.
God, please hurry up. I'm so tired.
Megalobox!
Hey!
Okay, best
Expected result.
best slice of life.
Hinamatsuri!
Hey!
Best comedy show.
Hinamatsuri!
Nice.
Hinamatsuri in the lead.
Okay, so Homemade Flashlight Award. Flashlight Award.
Flashlight. Flashlight.
Flashlight Award.
Fucking flashlight!
Oh, it's late. I'm tired.
Sword Online!
Oh, okay.
So
Good for
best
it.
protagonist.
Trevor Belmont!
Oh.
Woo! That's probably the only one I've in mind.
Best side character.
Genuinely unanimous. Hitomi!
One of mine.
Yay! She deserves it.
Best antagonist.
Dracula!
Yeah, yes.
Okay, by poking my master's headlights award.
Debruman!
Hey!
Expected,
I'm the
expected,
only one
say.
going in.
Pretty much.
Best boy.
Alucard!
Oh.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Best girl.
Anzu!
Hinamatsuri
Yay.
doing
Wow.
well here.
Sweeping the awards apart from the best anime.
As it turns out, when Ben nominates it for a lot of things, it gets wins.
You nominated it for as much as me.
I did nominate it for one thing, to be fair.
The Peugeot 106 from eBay award.
Space fishing.
Between the sky and the sea.
Lewis's disdain and
Oh, that one.
spread beyond the stars.
Best OP.
Castlevania.
Yay.
Very good.
My impassioned love and hatred.
Best ED.
Somehow be the beginning.
It was the only real option.
I mean, I abstained, but there we go.
Oh god.
I believe I also abstained.
Oh, so it was just me and Ben.
I couldn't vote for my own, and I'm like, nah.
Best soundtrack.
Debuman.
Expected.
Oh god, I don't want to pronounce this out loud. Razor Blade Filled Vagina Award.
But
Did
you
say
did.
vagina?
But you did.
Animated dubs.
Hey, good to see our best boy getting his final deserving return.
Best visuals.
Violet, who got to know Emotionu-chan.
Expected.
And as Ben's put it on the chat, Violet Evergarden.
Evergarden!
Right.
Evergarden! Have you brought me to the Olive Garden? Do I get those breadsticks?
Violet, look after your brother and sister.
Oh god. Best
She's got the leukemia!
best moment.
You did it, Charlie.
Best moment.
Well, the best moment was Alucard's My Boy.
Oh.
Not
Yes.
Alucard, sorry, Dracula's My Boy.
Our son.
Were there any votes for Miki?
Well, I'll double check after.
Okay.
Alright.
The Gay Bolkar Award.
Food wank.
Oh.
Okay, and then finally, Anime of the Year. I'm not going to be surprised when this comes out.
Oh, you're not going to be surprised? What do you think it is?
I think it's Devilman.
It still will work.
Big order!
Hang on a minute.
Joke's on you, it's Megalobox. No one voted for it, but it won. It's
Hey.
fucking Debru, man.
Yay.
Well done.
Everyone loves Akira Fudo.
This is Devilman's third award of the night.
Is that tied with Hinamatsu?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think
No,
it is.
Hinamatsuri has more. Hinamatsuri has 4.
Hinamatsuri does have 4, Debru Man has 3.
But then I guess Anime of the Year is therefore the only one.
Megalobox has 2.
I would say Anime of the Year is worth 2, so they're drawn.
Yeah, so how was... Did anyone vote for the Miki moment?
No, sorry.
Rip.
Well,
Sorry, it was my boy.
It is my son.
that concludes
no one.
the Nottaku Anime Awards for 2018. Maybe
Lewis, sound effect us off.
Oh fuck! I'll just do it. I'll just do it myself.
Na 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 na.
Love me, say that you love me.
Full Metal
Cut
Alchemist.
there.
Full Metal Alchemist. Ow!
hopefully we'll see you next year. Bye.
It's already this year.
Yeah,
I'm already
probably
Teresa.
won't.